You really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Hey, motherfucker, what you like to do?
Oh, I don't know. Play chess. Screw.
Well, let's play chess.
They give off to Jonathan Taylor. Jump cutting his way close to the goal line. He's in there. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y. Jonathan Taylor.
Wheeler finds Quan from the logo.
Here's Halliburton into the front court. Mishandled it, but gets a shot. Hits it. Hits it.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
All right, everybody, let's go on a busy Friday. We are loaded up and a lot of what you love. We shall bring back what you really enjoy, and that is hashtag Ask Pat, Pat Sullivan, Sullivan Hardware and Garden. That is the Home and Garden Show every Saturday, 9 until 1, along with Denny Smith and Terry Stacy and Allison. Pat Sullivan in studio. We've got sauce, some awesome sauce to give away. And you guys know the legend, do you not, of Eggfest? So that's where they get thousands upon thousands of big green eggs. The meat smokers. It is a smoked meat spectacular. You go back a number of years and Mike Wells and I had that smoke off. And I whipped some ass. But this is Eggfest. We've got tickets for Eggfest. We've got awesome sauce. That is a value of $100 we shall give in hashtag Ask Pat. So get those questions in over the course of this hour, and we'll try to get to them. Our friend Nathaniel Finch is in studio right now. He's going to end up picking the winner. So go ahead and cozy up to Nathaniel regarding that. Hashtag Ask Pat's coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Jeremiah Johnson of FanDuel Sports Network, or as we like to talk about, Pacers Television. He joins us coming up at the bottom of the hour. And cannot wait for it. I'm really excited for Chad Buchanan, Pacers general manager, who's going to join us. I think I'd mentioned 5 o'clock yesterday. He's got something working, so we'll push him back a little bit. We'll probably break early on the 5 and try to get the most out of him. He sent me a text over the weekend and said, "Are you mad at us?" I wasn't mad. I'm not mad at anybody. I just would really love to figure out, and I think we've heard the Pacers side of the story. We'll get even more of that with Chad coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. But the other side is from that of Myles Turner, and we're still kind of waiting. Now, Nathaniel, we did have, I think, some Myles on the Bucks X account from a little bit earlier today, did we not have that too? Do you have that ready? It's kind of interesting, too, because the dynamic was, Myles and the Pacers hate the Bucks, and the Bucks hate the Pacers. There's a great deal of hatred, and now that's going to be flipped. And Myles was mentioning that very thing on the Bucks X-Handle account earlier today.
What's up, y'all? It's Myles Turner checking in to the Cream City. I'm excited to join the organization, man, and it's been quite some time, man. Good news, man. I don't hate y'all no more, baby. It's love.
I don't hate y'all no more. It's love. Especially when you get a lot, like a big-ass load of money. It is love. I don't hate you all anymore. It is love. But that and a variety of things with Chad Buchanan coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. I know a lot of you want to have this incredible takeaway. I can't really get on you that much because I sometimes get caught up in the world of instant reactions, instant judgment. Given my history with must-win situations in week number 1, I think we all would, understand. Sometimes I get caught up in it too. That's why you have to be careful. You have to be careful about the Summer League. It is fun, it is enjoyable, and there are certainly dudes that I want to see play well. There's going to be one opposite of the Pacers coming up tomorrow late afternoon, early evening, from Las Vegas, in Brooks Barnheiser, that I want to see play incredibly well. Other guys I want to see play well, too. I want to see the Pacer guys play well because I would have to think some guys are searching for a distinct possibility of rotational minutes. Significant rotational minutes this season. There are going to be some opportunities for dudes under normal circumstances, or in this case, different circumstances, that will have that chance. You know, I mentioned the names. Yeah, Johnny Furphy goes out with that injury situation yesterday. We were still on the air, I think, when that happened. But we've mentioned the name, Cam Jones, the second-round selection out of Marquette. Yeah, Taylor Peter, the second-round selection out of Liberty. Quentin Jackson, Freeman. Quentin Jackson especially is a guy because he's had minutes before. Ray J. Dennis is another one I think you watch with a little interest to see, because you're also trying to fill a gap and move on this season without the known commodity that is Tyrese Halliburton. We've had a number of people bring up on this show, actually not a number of people, I think it was just Jerome. Jerome's brought up on this show Russell Westbrook. Jerome has brought up somebody else, too. Somebody else. And my explanation as to why the Pacers would have no interest in doing that right now is because you have to try to figure out what you have. And when you're trying to, I'm not going to say just get through a season, because I want to give this team more credit than that. But when you're trying to replace somebody of that highest level of quality, like Tyrese Halliburton, you first want to check what you have in your own house, under your own roof. And I think that's fair. I mean, you know what some of these veteran guys that might be floating around out there that would get a little bit of interest. I know now. He mentioned Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal. And right before I puked, I thought, you know what? The better part about this is just wait and see what you have. You're going to have plenty of time. If you surprise others, and not me, but if you just surprise in general, in a season without Tyrese Halliburton, in a season in which Myles Turner is going to something called Cream City, which I think that's funny. I think I watched that on S118 back in 1986. Cream City is where Myles is going to be located now. If you end up surprising what is the rest of the NBA universe here, you're going to have plenty of time to try to mix and match some pieces to take advantage of that. Or maybe you won't need to if you're thoroughly satisfied with those that are playing, again, that are under your own roof. So this is a part of a process to figure out exactly what you have, what you're dealing with, and if anybody can become or evolve into and give you those rotational minutes that are out there right now. Those are going to be options. You have the opportunity to get some time, to earn some clock. That's all a part of this team concept. So that's, to me, more so than anything else. Yeah, it's not about who picks up the big numbers, but it's the consistency and the level of play. And you have to be careful in how you look at it and judge it. And always remember the level of competition. Because last we checked in with this Pacer team, it was the absolute highest level of competition. It is weird to go from that 3 weeks ago to the Summer League right now. But that's what Kevin Pritchard, and Rick Carlisle, and Chad Buchanan, and Ted Wu, and Ryan Carr, that's what they are evaluating right now out in Las Vegas. Guys on their own team that can transition and earn some minutes. And whether or not at some point, if you're going to be good enough, if you have to go out and maybe find a veteran, again, that is, to me, something you have time to figure out here. True evaluation is going to be necessary, and that's what's going on. But as I mentioned a little bit earlier, you have to be a little bit careful because you can't just draw absolute conclusions. And this is nothing at all against Ryan Nembhard. And this is what I had heard regarding Ryan Nembhard. A lot of you are saying, well, you know what? We should have drafted Ryan Nembhard. I mean, the brother of Andrew Nembhard, there he is right there. And in game number 1 of the Summer League for the Mavericks, he looked like his brother playing out there last night. Couple of things here. You have to be really careful in evaluating after one game. And the Nembhard family, they're good players, don't get me wrong. And we have seen the belief that has been built and he has orchestrated from Andrew Nembhard with this Pacer team as a second-round selection. And we'll see ultimately what happens with Ryan Nembhard, who went undrafted out of Gonzaga. But you can't over-evaluate from one game. And the other aspect of it is, from what I had heard, the Pacers had interest, but Ryan Nembhard didn't, if that makes sense. He was trying to find what he felt maybe was a better spot. And I don't know. I didn't get into great detail over it. But the interest was as a free agent. And again, the Pacers could have drafted him, and nobody did. But they did have free agent interest in him. He just had interest in ending up where he ended up in Dallas. If that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes any sense to you. But that's how that went down. Again, it's one game in the Summer League of Judgment, and it is always better to play well. Don't get me wrong. But it still is one game, and there was a significant level. It's not like that he was completely disregarded. Now, a lot of people kind of look and say, well, he's a couple of inches shorter than his older brother, and maybe this is not going to work out as well. There was some interest there, but he had interest someplace else. But an impressive start, and you would much rather have that than you would the alternative, looking like you cannot play. But that is that story, and I think in a nutshell, that is the story that really at its best describes what the Summer League is all about. Yeah, you truly are searching. All right, we can hit that at 239-1070. I mentioned Chad Buchanan is going to join us coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, a little bit after 5, the Pacers general manager live from Las Vegas. All right, speaking of judgments and evaluations, and in this case, finding something that is beyond the level of inconsistency we've seen so far, whether you want to make some excuses or not, the Fever are 9-10. And we are tiptoeing toward the WNBA All-Star Weekend here in Indy and the All-Star break. And I think everybody out there would deem it dandy if the Fever would start putting together some consistency. And honestly, in the past 3 games with Caitlin Clark, upon her re-entry, if you remember, that was an incredible performance. But the 1, 2, 3 games since, not so much, which I think begs the question, is she still dealing with something? Are they dealing with something? And what especially happens in late game situations that they can't get over? It's interesting, right? Because you watch the Pacers, and we watch the Pacers in late game situations, especially in the postseason, and then you watch them in the Summer League game yesterday, and you go, wow, here it is again. Here's the comeback. Outplaying the opposition in that final quarter in the late game. The Fever have been struggling more times than not in late game situations. And again, you get that one game that is the outlier on the road in Minnesota for the Commissioner's Cup, in which they won, that did not have a count in the standings, but we have a memory of it. Yeah, that was a point where from basically the first quarter on, they played well. And it was completely opposite the other day. It's been disappointing against the LA Sparks in late game situations. And when they matched up against Golden State for that afternoon affair back on Wednesday, that was a complete discombobulation, basically from the end of the first quarter on. It was a mess. You can kind of flip the script. That's what Minnesota looked like with the Fever in that Commissioner's Cup final. They got off to the good start, and then the Fever defense took over, and you thought maybe that was going to be a turning point, and it was going to be a better turning point because it was without Caitlin Clark. And then, for whatever reason, the late game circumstances that unfortunately we're becoming used to took hold against the LA Sparks. And then upon the return of Caitlin Clark, I don't even know how to describe that disaster you had on Wednesday afternoon. It's probably better said just to forget about it. And that's exactly what they'll try to do later on tonight against a 12-7 Atlanta Dream squad. That is a 7:30 get-together at Gainbridge Fieldhouse coming up later on tonight. The Dream and the Fever, and it would be a nice time for the Fever to step up and do a little bit of anything to get back on track before what should be a phenomenal WNBA All-Star weekend. Think about next week for me. Behringer's on the south side. That's on Wednesday. We celebrate on South Meridian. That is an iconic venue. Behringer's, that's on Wednesday. And then O'Reilly's downtown. I'm going to try to get a hold of Tamika Catchings to have on the show. We're going to try to get Sydney Parrish down there as well. There's a lot of stuff going on next Friday as we're going to be live at O'Reilly's. So that's really going to be a precursor to the start of us being out and live and with you a ton again. But that's coming up next week. Behringer's on Wednesday and O'Reilly's on Friday. Coming up next week. Brent Halverson, by the way, with us coming up at O'Reilly's with our good friend Joel. That is coming up next Friday. But now is the time, and I would suggest start that later on this evening against the Atlanta Dream. Tip time, 7:30. I'm assuming Eddie Garrison's got the pregame right here coming up at 7:15. That is Nathaniel Finch over there right now. You want to say any profound words before I take this first break, being in there for James today?
I don't know any profound words. What are you asking me?
Nothing profound?
Nothing profound.
All right. Any thoughts on this past week? Any thoughts on what I just said at all? Anything make sense? Anything make zero sense to you?
Well, you and I have different takes on the Myles Turner saga, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Don't get me all pissed on a Friday here.
I'm not saying a word.
How are you going to piss me? Are you somebody that thinks that it's good that he bailed?
I don't know if it's good necessarily, but it's not bad.
It's good, but it's not bad. Well, what the hell would it be then if it's...
Yeah, like you
good
expected
if it's not
it
bad,
to come.
right?
Like you knew it was coming. I wouldn't say it's a good thing,
You
but
didn't know that it was coming. I knew it was coming. You didn't know it was coming. The Pacers didn't know it was coming.
He's been in trade talks the last 5-6 years.
Well, that's part of it, but you didn't know it was coming because, hell, the Pacers, we're going to talk to Chad Buchanan. They didn't know it was coming. Shams had to tell them.
It's crippling Milwaukee, though. We love that.
Maybe. You don't want Cream City crippled, do you? What is the cream thing about? I know we went through that going back to the first round. Is that dairy?
That's just their color, their team color.
Their team color, cream?
Their cream.
Oh, it has nothing to do with the dairy product that's synonymous with the state of Wisconsin?
I don't know. Milwaukee does what Milwaukee does. We don't question it.
Cream. Why not beer? It's also beer, right? Miller Brewing Company? All right. That's Nathaniel Finch, everybody, right there. Did not go in depth on it. That's okay. He said, quote, it's not good, but it's not bad. That's very middle of the road right there.
It's profound if you think about it.
It is very profound. I think I said that last week. Nathaniel Finch, everybody. I think James is coming back a little bit later on today. We got a loaded show for you. Jeremiah Johnson coming up at the bottom of the hour. Hashtag Ask Pat. Hey, hustle up on your questions. Give you a great example. Paradise Day Watson, that's where I go every Sunday and get absolutely crap hammered. And I love it. It's right across the road from where I live. It's a pool, the home of Jeff and Glenda Watson. It is basically my vacation destination. I'll give you a great example. I'm going to be out a couple of different times next week. That's where I'm going. Yeah, I'm not going to Florida. I'm sure as hell not going to Michigan, anything like that. Nope. We're going to Paradise Day Watson, or Club Watson as they call it. Now, a problem at Paradise Day Watson right now is they have something called a burning bush, and it's not going so well right now. Now, we'll ask Pat Sullivan at hashtag Ask Pat why their burning bush is a major malfunction and what we have to do. Anybody else ever had to deal with a burning bush? It can be problematic, and it completely changes the dynamic of your landscape without it. So we'll check in on the Paradise Day Watson burning bush situation coming up here, top of the 4 o'clock hour. And Chad Buchanan, Pacers general manager, is going to join us from Las Vegas. All the questions we're going to ask, I don't know the type of answers you're going to get, but we're going to stay on and be curious. I think the most curious part about this is, do they feel as if Myles just said, you know what, it's time for me to leave. I want to go, and there is no coming back, and it's not even so much about the ultimate cash flow that I'm getting here. It's just I'm ready to go. Cream City, here I come. Chad Buchanan is coming up. That is in the 5 o'clock hour. Earth, Wind, and Fire tickets. We have, I think, Songs of Summer at the Indiana State Fair. Did you know that I am doing a JMV takeover at the Indiana State Fair? That should be outstanding coming up in the month of August. I did want to give a shout out. Saw a lot of you down at Big B Coffee. A lot of you coffee lovers out there. Big B Coffee, and this location is in Franklin, right off of I-65 there. So we shot a video a little bit earlier today, this morning, in fact, at Big B Coffee. And the reason why is because they are joining the show, which is awesome because we love them and we love the fact that they are now with us. They're opening up a new location, and it is on the inbound relatively quickly. That is off of US 31 South, just a little bit south of the Greenwood Park Mall. Basically right across from that Buca. Or if you're from Greenwood, I believe it's where Captain D's used to be located, which that'll tell you exactly what we're talking about. But we love Big B Coffee. We were down there a little bit earlier today. Shout out to Nikki and the gang from Big B Coffee for having us. A great video is coming up for you. And if you saw me, I sent this out a little bit earlier on X. It is me with a new fan. And it's a hellaciously awesome picture. George Clinton had this song in 1983, The Atomic Dog. You guys got to check that out. It is on X. It is on my Facebook. It is a new fan of this show and the JMV Takeover that I met at Big B Coffee a little bit earlier today down in Franklin. And again, thanks to Nikki and the gang for having us at Big B Coffee this morning down in Franklin. All right, 239-1070. Email address is jmv at 1075thefan.com. AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Become a AAA member today. You've got Back-to-Back Dave. A AAA member is going to get perks for Back-to-Back Dave tonight and tomorrow. Early entry, the Premier Lounge for Back-to-Back Dave. That's Matt and Matt. Goins and Godbout for the win to become a AAA member and get those perks. Back-to-Back Dave, Symphony on the Prairie, the Indians at Victory Field, and then, oh, by the way, your summertime vacation on the road, they have your back. You have support on the open road, if you will. Become a AAA member for all of those really good reasons, and do that today. The stream, the app, it's HD Radio, and back with Jeremiah Johnson. That's next, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. This from Milwaukee's Journal Sentinel. Milwaukee's nickname, Cream City, isn't in honor of Wisconsin's many dairy products or even beers. It's in homage to the light-colored yellowish bricks dubbed Cream City bricks that make up countless buildings throughout the city. Thank you, Jim McCann. Light-colored yellowish bricks. It's like, is that like urine color? Yellowish bricks. I think that was the color of the Schatz Brewery on Laverne and Shirley back in the day, too. Julian writes this, the story one of the commentators told during the Summer League game, the Lakers and the Mavericks last night, about the hole in the wall at the Nembhard brothers' house tells me all I need to know about the two brothers, tough customers. Funny story, though. Yeah, Julian, thank you. I did hear that last night. Chad Buchanan, Pacers GM from Vegas at the 5 o'clock hour. Pat Sullivan with hashtag Ask Pat for prizes at the top of the hour on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline from Pacers TV. Jeremiah Johnson joins us. So are you scouting out rotational minutes that are going to be available on this team? Did we see anybody in Summer League game number 1 take a step forward in that capacity?
John, good to be with you. I will say Cream City I get, but Brew City is what I often say on Pacers Live pregame.
Brew City.
Yeah. I like Brew City better.
Do you like Happy Days or Laverne and Shirley better?
Happy Days, yeah. We stay at a hotel right near the Fawn statue in downtown Milwaukee.
I do like Henry Winkler a great deal. He once upon a time signed my Happy Days metal lunchbox. True story.
Really?
Yes.
You still have that?
Yeah, I do have it. I have like 110 of them, yes. See, I call everybody else nerds, and I'm probably the biggest nerd around. Yes. Metal lunchboxes.
You got to get that certified, get a rating on that on a 1 to 10, and then see what it's worth.
You know, I think about 20 years ago, they were worth more than they are now. I think it's the kind of the eye of the beholder thing, if that makes sense to you right here. That's what they're worth.
Kind of like Beanie Babies.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's that bad anymore because they completely disappeared. Because they're at least, I think it's, you know, with the various television shows and movies and all that and characters, you have that with lunchboxes. But yeah, it's probably not too far off, JJ. Full disclosure.
Not to get sidetracked. So to answer your question, Ray J. Dennis is someone that I don't think a lot of people had talked about during the last couple of months, and when you analyze the point guard rotation, I know the staff was very high on Ray J and what he was able to do to help the Mad Ants when he joined the team middle of the season, and I did broadcast one of the playoff win of the Mad Ants, and his point guard skills you can see them, and it is just a summer league game, and obviously a lot of his playing time was also in the G League games, but I think he's got a shot to potentially get some third point guard minutes. Now, it's going to be a question about roster spots and what you do with the two-ways and then who your 15 regular roster players are. But it stands to reason you'll need a third true point guard, and Summer League is an audition for Ray J. Dennis.
Yeah, I thought Summer League was, I look at Quentin Jackson as well, who I think I kind of wonder if he's given more of a consistent opportunity. I could be completely wrong. But, I mean, hell, we all could be wrong with this right now. I don't think we're going into a year where I think it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to evaluate and mix and match and see if you can find something. Because, JJ, I do believe in the group that is going to embark on this path without Tyrese Halliburton for the season and now without Myles Turner. I do believe in this group, but I think it's okay to kind of mix and match and see what you have before you go out and find something that certainly is a veteran, more known commodity. I don't think that's necessary at this juncture.
The unknown will be part of the fun of this upcoming season, and the effort, will be there. And I found myself watching parts of that second half yesterday, and I was reminded about one of the most enjoyable regular season games that we got to broadcast, and that was game 82 in Cleveland. Now, it wasn't that enjoyable for 2.5 quarters, but when that group of players made that spirited comeback in a game that you could argue, did not really matter, maybe even a case could be made that it would have been better draft-wise to not win, although they ended up trading that pick, so then it really didn't matter. But, Quentin Jackson, Enrique Freeman, Ray J., those are guys that you enjoyed watching then. If you give them minutes this upcoming season, you know they will play hard. And you don't know necessarily what you'll get, but it'll be fun to watch. And with Quinn specifically, he's not a true point guard. He's more of a combo guard. But one thing is he has a little bit of T.J. McConnell in him in that no one will play harder. I'd love to see those two guys play a best-of-7 one-on-one full court and just to see what happened because that guy has an endless amount of energy. He's sort of a Pacers culture guy, and I'd be happy to see him get a bigger role this season.
It's Jeremiah Johnson, Pacers TV's joining us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Have you heard the Myles Turner sound from the Bucks X handle?
I saw the comment that was what looked like a hotel
hold that thought for a second. I've got it for you. Let's play this one more time. This is Myles earlier today from the Bucks X handle. It's kind of an introduction, I guess. Roll it.
What's up, y'all? It's Myles Turner checking in to the Cream City. I'm excited to join the organization, man, and it's been quite some time, man. Good news, man. I don't hate y'all no more, baby. It's love.
That's weird. I may have hit the redo button on that a little bit. I don't hate y'all anymore. It's all love. I guess I can understand if I got an assload of money, I probably wouldn't hate anybody anymore either. But yeah, it's just the whole thing is just just outside of the money dynamic is just so stinking weird. It just is.
It is, and I heard Nathaniel say the change is not good and not bad, and that kind of actually fits because moving forward, you have mixed emotions, but even as you said, just to see Myles in Milwaukee, I'm not sure that he necessarily knows how to react. I mean, think about this. He's been with the same organization for 10 seasons, the same city, go to the same restaurants and breakfast locations, and it was a longer and maybe even you could say a little bit of an unusual goodbye that he posted yesterday to social media and a delayed post at that. So you did wonder for the last week or so what he was thinking and, when he would officially be introduced. It sounds like there'll be a press conference with some of the normal type of questions and answers later today in Las Vegas. And I found myself over the last couple of weeks kind of having those mixed emotions where, it just feels weird. You're disappointed. I am personally just because of the relationships that you build with Myles. And I think you have to be appreciative of everything that he did. And here's one thing, take the basketball away from, whatever you think about Myles Turner as a player. There have not been too many people that have represented the city and in any opportunity gotten in front of a microphone and been proud to be a player in Indiana, a Hoosier, a Pacer, and really, kind of carried the flag for the franchise and for the state. And so I understand some fans are disappointed and we don't really know everything that went down, but I do think that it's important to at least appreciate what the last 10 years have been like and the ups and downs that Myles had to go through. And let's say finishing on an extremely high note, maybe not individually for Myles specifically in that NBA Finals, but to go through that journey and to cap it all off by playing in the NBA Finals and advancing to a seventh game and really, let's be honest, exceeding all outside expectations. It was a pretty good run and one that you do not see happen with one organization very often in the NBA.
I mean, it was a tremendous run. It is weird the way two things happened to such a great season and an iconic postseason and the 7-minute mark of the first quarter, how that basically ended, and then how a 10-year career of ups and downs. I mean, hell, it's like a Kings Island roller coaster with 33 here, and to have that end this way it's almost like people around here go, can you just not have a normal ending ever? Do you just have to have all this? What the hell?
Yeah. I mean, think about how many things happened, let's say since the All-Star break, whether it was a game or a moment like you're referencing, where you'll sort of remember where you were when you either watched or found out the news. And to me, the Myles Turner news, wherever you were when you found out, and according to Kevin Pritchard, he'll never forget where he found out by the same way of many of the rest of us. But you'll never forget everything around you because your immediate reaction is you're kind of puzzled. It was something you had never heard before. And then for me personally, and it kind of fits with what Myles just said about I don't hate you all anymore. I mean, that was where I had the biggest kind of, pit to my stomach was, really? He's gonna go to the Bucks? And we don't make a lot of NBA rivalries anymore, but there are some new, fresh, intense rivalries, and there's none bigger right now than Pacers-Bucks. And for the Pacers, I'll say even the Pistons maybe jump above the Knicks, and they're maybe second on my list. But Pacers-Bucks, you just added a little bit more fuel to that fire and that rivalry. And, whatever happens when those two teams play each other at Gainbridge Field for the first time, my hope is the game starts and you kind of show your appreciation. But moving forward, he's on the Bucks, and nobody in Indiana likes Milwaukee. And it's okay for Pacers fans to still hate the Bucks, even though Myles doesn't. So now that rivalry takes on a whole new meaning.
So I know outside of here, maybe there's not even close to a similar impact. But is that a game at Gainbridge Fieldhouse that you would put on Christmas Day?
Yeah.
It won't be. I know it won't be because of the circumstances of injury and because the intrigue around here is certainly more profound than it will be across the nation. But it would be interesting as hell, would it not?
It would, and I heard you talking about this earlier this week, and I would have said during the NBA Finals run again, you would have guaranteed of those 5 Christmas Day games, one of them would have included the Pacers, and then when Tyrese Halliburton is injured, we don't know how the national networks will make their decisions, but I guess I would say I'll probably be surprised if the Pacers are on Christmas Day. But what I would say is of those showcase week, opening week games, and it's different. No TNT. We don't know how NBC and all that to shake out. But I could see Pacers-Bucks maybe one of those opening week games because you want that high-profile game that you speak of to be the first time these two teams play, and you might not be able to wait until December 25th for that first matchup. So I think you're on the right track. If I'm an NBA schedule maker, I might even make Pacers-Bucks a week 1 matchup. Won't be on opening night probably because that's reserved usually for the NBA champion and LeBron James. But
I believe JJ just faded right there. Oh, you faded out really quick. Hey, I got to run here in a couple of minutes. I did want to ask you before I officially cut you loose here for the weekend, what did you think about the 2 second-rounders, whether it was Taylor Peter out of Liberty or Cam Jones out of Marquette in their debuts yesterday afternoon in Vegas?
Yeah, I thought both looked like they fit in. That's what you really want from a second-round pick. And Summer League is something where there'll be good moments. There'll be moments that don't look as sharp in the 5 Summer League games. But especially with Taylor Peter, I just, being able to just confidently knock down that shot that he did late in the game and just being in the flow of the offense, I wouldn't place too high of expectations. I think he's on a 2-way contract, so you'll be able to check him out with the Noblesville Boom this season a lot. But if he gets some opportunities with the Pacers, it'll be a good opportunity. Again, you have a lot of guys that are going to be able to knock down threes, and that's important to the Pacers as well.
Jeremiah Johnson, Pacers TV. You got a big weekend planned, buddy?
I'm actually on my way up to Mishawaka for a little AAU basketball. So the next 3 weekends, I'll be watching summer 16U hoops. So I'm looking forward to that.
What team is it?
Indy Gym Rats White.
Awesome.
Indy Heat Gym Rats White. Yep, we are headed to South Bend, and then next week Grand Rapids, and the following weekend Fort Wayne.
Wow, there you go. So you're not going to have much of a summer at all, are you?
No, and actually earlier this week, you'd be impressed. I went to Evansville on Monday, South Bend Tuesday, and Terre Haute Wednesday to help promote the WNBA All-Star Festivities.
Love it.
And I stopped at the Odin Meat Locker.
Did you? Did you get anything?
It was fantastic. Of course, got some smoked turkey, but also picked up a package of teriyaki marinated boneless pork chops.
Yes, you did.
Those last night, and my mom and dad said they were the tenderest pork chops they've ever had.
It is the marinated turkey I still have in my fridge ready for the weekend. as well. And a shout out to Andrew Schwartzentruber, who is the owner of the Odin Meat Locker. And that is a destination location, is it not, JJ?
It is. And it's been a while since I'd been there, but I walked in and I was just thoroughly impressed by the quality, the selection, the price. I found myself wondering how I get down to Odin a little more frequently in the future.
I'll be going down next week. I got a couple of days off. I got to go see G, and then I'll slide in there, too, and get some more meat. I love it down there. Absolutely. I'm glad you did it. Enjoy your time in Mishawaka over the weekend, too, and we'll catch up again here relatively soon, JJ. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, John.
Jeremiah Johnson, Pacers TV, Andy Moore, Automotive Group Hotline, and a lover of the greatness that is the Odin Meat Locker. And they don't have a slogan like nobody beats their meat, like everybody else does. It is just awesome, and as soon as you hear the name, you know. Hashtag Ask Pat, top of the hour. Pat Sullivan in studio. Chad Buchanan, Pacers GM from Vegas after 5. Sit tight, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. Huey Lewis of the news. I think he just turned 75 last week. I'm John. I'm 55. How are you? Nathaniel Finch in the house for James today. Chad Buchanan after 5, Pacers GM. He's in Vegas. He will join us from Las Vegas, the side of Summer League game number 2, late afternoon tomorrow against Brooks Barnheiser in Oklahoma City for the Pacers. Come from behind style win, very much reminiscent of what we saw basically for most of the end of the season last night in Summer League game number 1 against Cleveland. Tim writes this, looks like I'm going to have to get the JMV diet going after getting my checkup at the doctor. Let me tell you this, Tim. You let me know. You let me know when we can meet, and because there's a lot more, and I explain this all the time, than me just injecting myself weekly. We'll change up the diet protocol, and certainly it's a helper. Don't get me wrong. It is an incredible helper. Premier Weight Loss has done me the largest solid of my life right there, because I could not feel better. But you also can get down to business, too, with a new diet protocol. There's just a lot of stuff that I jacked around with for the better part of 3 decades that I haven't in the past year, and I feel great because of it. And I do. But I can help you out, Tim. I'll help you with the diet protocol, with the whole workout regimen, whatever, man. I am not an official trainer, but I can also tell you my friends at Premier Weight Loss can help you out, too. That InBody, man, that InBody, there's no lying with that InBody. I don't know if anybody's ever been on the whole InBody thing. It kind of looks like an elliptical machine. It's got these arms that you got to put your thumbs on and the feet pads, and it does all over the body, inside and out, and it tells no lies, and it spares no feelings. Incredible stuff. So, Tim, the best of luck to you on that. Meantime, 239-1070, hashtag Ask Pat. Pat's going to be in the house here coming up after the top of the hour. We are going to get you fired up with all the questions where you can win a prize package, including Egg Fest tickets. That's the Big Green Egg Fest upcoming at Sullivan Hardware and Garden at 71st and Keystone. And we also have for you a number of sauces, awesome sauces for you coming up here too. Hashtag Ask Pat. That's at the top of the hour. Chad Buchanan coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Do not go anywhere. The stream the app. It is H3 Radio, and make sure you get on board for those questions for Pat Sullivan. Questions at hashtag Ask Pat on X or 239-1070 will put you on the air when Pat Sullivan joins us in studio. That's coming up next. in its entirety. 3 years, and I think it's $7 million annually through 2028, according to Shams right there. Isaiah Jackson in the fold as part of the pivot by committee. We re-enter with Bush right now for a reason, because my neighbors at Paradise Day Watson have an understandable issue that Pat Sullivan is currently dealing with right now. Their burning bush is a major malfunction. As Pat Sullivan joins us for hashtag Ask Pat in studio, what can they do about their bush?
So you say it's burning?
Yes.
Yeah.
The bush is burning.
So is it a green bush?
It is, but it's starting to turn a little brown and yellow in spots because something is going on. What should they do?
It's very possible that it's aphids, and you can spray a systemic on that. The only thing is there is some temperature restrictions, so it may not be a good time when the temperature's in the 90s. But the thing about a burning bush,
yes,
which is actually on the hit list from the government as an invasive plant.
Oh, it is.
I know, but it's like everybody has them. But it's like
I think everything in my yard's invasive.
Well, you know what? Quite honestly, there's some.
Is that why?
There's some people in this state that think the only thing that's not invasive it would be a native plant.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So, but anyways, when it cools down a little bit, spray that with some systemic insecticide. Systemic is the important part.
Gotcha.
And that should take care of it. Make sure that you get under the leaves and really give it. Soak it up.
All right. Paradise Day Watson cannot have a malfunctioning burning bush.
You know, the burning bush reminds me of a time way back. Do you remember our friend Dick Crum?
I do.
Dr. Dirt, I think Matt Hiblin at the time was running the board, and someone was pranking Dr. Dirt about a burning bush.
Was this on the radio or on TV?
This was on the radio.
Because there was also a prank done that's fairly infamous television-wise, right, too?
I don't recall
For
that
Dr. Dirt, I believe so, yeah.
Was that involving the same
Did he
shrub?
used to do something with RTV6 way back when?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's
Mondays.
definitely something out there, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. So anyways, it was they got it to the dump button pretty quick. Yep. The burning bush, and, the way one neighbor had their burning bush trimmed, and, just kind of, you can see where that goes.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, did it take a minute to understand where that call was going?
It did for Matt Hiblin. Dick would have never known.
That's very Jerky Boys. That was like popular for a minute back in the 90s, the kind of prank phone call Jerky Boys stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was complete jackassery. You can't do prank calls anymore, can you? I mean, somebody can come on here and be a jackass.
No, because now everybody knows who's on the other end of the phone.
I'll call you back. I'll get your number right here.
Yeah.
Pretty easy. How was your vacation?
Vacation was good. We went to Rhode Island.
You did?
Yep, and stayed in a very nice home that was actually this old house, the show home from 2018. And I said, Beth, did you know this? This is my wife, Beth.
Wow, that's a
I
big
said, did
deal
you know
right
this
there.
is this old house? She goes, I told you that like 10 times.
Was it nice? Was it very
nice? Very nice.
New England-esque?
Very New England.
Right.
It was very close to the beach. Had a pool. Had a.
Did you have some chowder?
18 people. No, chowder gives me the rash.
Does it really?
Yeah, it does.
If there's like, I don't do too much chowder. What's in chowder? Clams and potatoes? Is that what's in there?
That's shellfish is an issue.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
They put scallops.
So that would be clam
in
chowder. So clam chowder. So the other thing is lobster. I said we were in. Then we went to Maine.
Lobster bisque. I do like lobster, though, buddy.
But do you like to add the work that is involved?
No, I don't. I think that's the problem.
So we went to a lobster bake in Maine, and we were up there for business, or we should say business. And it's like the guy next to me. I mean, he worked for like an
and you
hour.
get one little dab of meat.
Yeah. The way to go is to order the Lazy Man's lobster, where they do that for you.
So when I go to Alaska back in 2014, we get this Alaskan king crab that is freshly caught. And these things are as big as my arm. You crab, and I mean just like a Big Mac worth of crab meat comes out. And then you come back here and you crack one open and there's nothing.
Well, they're coming from the White River.
There's way too much work. that entails that
Yeah.
here. I like blue crab too, by the way.
Oh, do you?
I do like blue crab. Yeah. So good. I'm glad you had fun in Rhode Island.
Yeah, good time.
Egg Fest is coming up when?
It is. Matter of fact, we have a ton of festivals coming up. Starting Egg Fest is the 15th.
The 15th.
As a matter of fact, the prize package has 2 tickets, so it's $40 a pop to get in. So, I said the 15th.
That's not the 15th. That's the middle of the week.
It's the 16th. Isn't that a Saturday?
No.
August 16th?
Well, today's the 11th, right?
Well, but this is July. Egg Fest is in August.
Oh, it's in August.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was in July.
No.
All right, then.
No. It's in, so I believe it's the 16th. So there's 2 tickets and prize package along with some Tony's Boss Sauce.
Tony's Boss Sauce.
Tony is a local guy that it's very cool. And so he's always out sampling the sauce.
Hashtag Ask Pat, by the way, for that right now.
How about this? Comedy in the Garden. Pat Godwin, you ever heard?
I know.
Do you know Pat?
I've heard of Pat. I don't know
Pat,
him.
I tell you what, is on the Bob and Tom show daily.
Yes.
And does an incredible job on stage. So it's a little parody songs.
Yes.
Sings, but he really does a nice job. We had him at Christmas. So that is on.
Does he cuss? Is it PG?
If I let him.
Oh, cool.
But
Will you let him?
We'll have that discussion. What do you think? This will be a Fisher's. So this is at our Allison.
Oh, so
location.
it's not 71st and
No.
Okay.
Evening in the Garden on 726.
I was completely wrong in how I described it earlier. Then.
All right. So we have July 26th is Evening in the Garden.
Mm-hmm.
Have some great restaurants that come. It's what I like to call. Do you know? Have you ever been to Zubilation?
I have.
Okay, this is
one time and it was brutal.
Okay, this is like what I would call llamalation, because we can't afford all the animals. If we did that, we would have 2 llamas.
Right.
So it's Evening in the Garden. There's a great band and great restaurants. So
that'd be fun.
And I give you a list.
Yeah, but, I went one time to Zubilation, and it was about 98 degrees, and I'm in a tuxedo, and I thought the whole thing stunk. I do like the animals, though, and I like anything that's for the zoo because I dig the zoo.
Yeah.
I just, that whole thing
and those
I'm not
tickets
a fan of.
To Zubilation sell out in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And everybody goes and dresses up in shorts and stuff. And
all right, check this out. Cholita, Fernando's, Ambrosia, Pots and Pans, Aristocrat, 317 Barbecue, Union Jack, all will be at the Evening in the Garden.
Wow, that's great.
And that is July 26th.
Ambrosia, not the band, but the restaurant.
The restaurant,
oh,
yeah.
Man, the band would be good to have at
that would be
Egg
good.
Fest, too. How many eggs do you have cooking, smoking at once?
Egg Fest in August, we will have about 60 to 75.
That is incredible.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
Not like does Mark Sion run around with sensory overload with all this going on?
Yep.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, he teaches a couple classes and stuff, so it's all good.
That's Egg Fest coming up in August right there. All right. Mike O'Brien at hashtag AskPat. Are we ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
I have a small Merrimack stone around my entire house. I love it. However, it scatters easily with the weather and the kids playing. What are your thoughts, Pat Sullivan, on mulch/rock glue as a solution?
You know what? I've seen that. Matter of fact, just probably like everybody else on the internet. I'm not a big fan of rock around shrubs because of the heat. It's harder to put perennials and annuals in there because of the heat that the rock produces.
Does it kill them? Because I've had some of mine die because I have rock.
Do you have rock?
I have rock.
Yeah, so I'm kind of a naturalist. I would rather have like a shredded, like a nice dyed mulch.
Right.
And then you refresh it every year. But people in Florida they use rock all the time. They'll do rock for their entire lawn, and it's just too hot, I think. But
yeah, that makes sense. I do like mine though.
Yeah, but if it's the kids, I mean, the kids need to throw some rocks. I don't think that's so bad. But I guess the trying the mulch or the rock glue seemed kind of weird, but I guess it would be fine.
I like it.
Yeah.
Fever at home against the Dream later on tonight. That tip time, 7:30. Eddie Garrison's got your pregame show right here on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Don't the Fevers need a win right
Coming
now?
up at 7:15. The Fevers are in desperate need of any form of consistent play.
Yeah.
And not bad. Like good, consistent play.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Nathaniel, who was in here for the first hour and 15 of the show right there. Nathaniel did an excellent job per usual right there. You know Nathaniel, don't you?
He looks familiar, but he looks like he's about 15.
He is older than 15.
Really?
I believe he's older
I'd
than
love
15.
to look that young
Telling
when
you,
I was like,
yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
30. How old are you? 23.
Not that far off, though. 8 years.
No.
Yeah, not that far
23.
off. Like James is 23, too, and he looks like he's about 54.
Hey, Nathaniel, are you married?
I am not 23.
You're not married? So, when I was 23, I was married with 2 kids.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know. Now I have 5 kids. Matter of fact, I have now a 43-year-old child because she was born when I was 21. Do the math. Do the math, Nathaniel. Do the math.
In my head, right? That's wow.
Yeah.
That's excellent, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you feel it, deal it. Great job, Nathaniel. Right? You're 23. If you feel it, deal it.
Yeah.
Why not? All right. 239-1070 with a hashtag Ask Pat question from Rick. Rick, welcome to the show. You're on with Pat Sullivan. Hello, Rick.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Well done.
Hey, Rick.
I've got a friend that's hanging out underneath my porch. I think it's a groundhog. And I went over to Hillbilly King and was looking at their pest shelves, and they didn't have anything specifically for groundhogs.
What were you looking for? What poison or shotgun shells?
Well, I know. Just get rid of them. Whatever we can do. I prefer not to have to carry the carcass off or take my porch apart to get to the dead carcass.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Groundhogs are vegetarians. So if you would, you really need a live trap, but it's the raccoon size one, and you have to get to it pretty quickly because the groundhogs are pretty strong and they can break out. But if you get to it quick enough, then you throw it in the truck and take them for a little trip. But decks, mini barns, that's the place they hang out. If you want to just try to scare them off, if you use those, the Giant Destroyer and this is actually kind of fun anyways, because you light it, and you got to be careful not to set the deck on fire, but it pushes smoke underneath the deck or the mini barn.
Like a smoke bomb?
Like a smoke
bomb. We used
Yeah.
to buy when we couldn't sell fireworks in the state of Indiana. Smoke bombs.
Yeah.
How about if you get one of those snakes? How about those snakes that used to just ash up and put out black smoke? Remember snakes?
Yeah. Hell yes, I do.
That was
That's
back
really
when we
cool.
couldn't. That's when I had to send Emil Fields to Tennessee in a 72 Nova to bring back fireworks back in the day.
I was in Rhode Island.
Remember that.
No fireworks. No fireworks in Rhode Island.
Really?
It's really strange.
How did they celebrate there? Just they shoot guns or what?
No, it's the mafia. They just I don't know.
They allow sparklers and snakes and smoke bombs and tiger snaps.
But it's just really weird on July 4th. Instead of hearing like what we hear, it's like silent.
Rick, anything else on this show?
Well, just quickie on that.
Yep.
So hot pepper spray and capsaicin stuff does nothing.
I don't think so. I've never really heard somebody having great success. It's always either a trap. And again, all you're going to do, I don't poison them anyways. I don't think they would eat the poison, but trap it and just relocate it.
Appreciate it.
Rick, thank you
see
very
ya.
much. I mentioned Paradise Day Watson has to trap raccoons that infiltrate his yard at night.
Oh, really?
So he traps them in a cage and then goes and takes them on the other side of the White River and dumps them out.
Now,
That's savvy right there because they can't cross the bridge.
Yeah. Now, again,
I guess they could if they wanted.
Bringing up Dick Crumb's name again, he would always say, hey, he would ask people he'd go, hey, do you live inside 465? Take them to the other side. They'll never make it across.
They can't find the underpass?
No.
They'd be easy to get under right on Bluff Road there if you wanted to on the south side. No?
Not according to Crumb.
JMV, what are your thoughts? Actually, this is for hashtag Ask Pat Sullivan. What are your thoughts on rubber mulch?
You know what? I think it's great under a playground because it's makes the kids bounce, keeps them from getting splinters. But it has not really caught on for plants. And it's same thing. There's some heat involved in the rubber that heats up. And there's just something about it that seems so unnatural when you're out there and you're loving the green and the nature and you're dumping ground up tires that have been dyed one, either brown, red, or actually they used to make that stuff in blue and green as well.
They did, yeah.
So no, not a big
Mark
fan.
Patrick back in the day was huge on rubber mulch.
Really, that surprises me.
Loved rubber mulch
because he is such a craftsman.
Yeah,
I would not think that he would fall for the rubber mulch.
Was
Again,
in love with
around
rubber mulch.
Playgrounds, I think it's great.
He was in love with rubber mulch and the Dixie chopper.
Is there a?
He loved the Dixie chopper and rubber mulch.
That I know. He
Yeah,
did. I wonder if there's a song, rubber mulch.
There should be.
Yeah,
I think there should be a country song about a groundhog that lives underneath your porch.
Yeah, you know what? AI, we can whip that up in about 5 minutes.
Yeah. I once upon a time had a song that I was trying to give to Clayton Anderson called I Leave My Barn Door Open. And what's his name? Scott Bruschetta of whatever,
I love Bruschetta.
Big Machine. Is that his name? I forget. Big Machine Racing? Or Big Machine Records.
I don't know.
Said it was an awful title. Told me right to my face.
Really?
Yeah.
I disagree.
A little double entendre right there. I leave my barn door open because I live on a farm. I leave my barn door open late at night because, maybe.
Yeah.
I'll leave my barn door open. I thought it was great. He didn't. Pond Bear writes this, #AskPad, what's your favorite thing to cook on the Big Green Egg? I just picked one up last month and have no idea how to use it. Any pointers from Eggfest?
You know what? I would, a little pulled pork, I think is a great starter thing. Pulled pork or ribs using like a 3-2-1 method, 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour. I would probably stay away from the brisket.
Pork's pretty cheap right now, too, so if you jack it up, it's going to be okay.
But it's
nice do-over.
It's decently easy, and it's so good.
Yeah.
So, but I would get used to it before you try the brisket.
Yeah, the brisket. We had brisket last weekend from the Odin Meat Locker, and it was awesome.
Okay, so who cooked it?
Jeff Watson. That's where I do all my vacationing, right across the road.
Oh, okay.
Jeff Watson smoked it on the Big Green Egg.
Excellent. So he knows what he's doing.
It was awesome.
You always overthought it, I thought.
Oh, I just used to massacre it all the time. And I would just leave it and not pay attention.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about it. It's out there smoking. And then it'd be a piece of really crisp bacon by that point in time. #AskPat or 239-1070. Remember, you got a couple of Boss sauces, courtesy of Tony. Tony's Boss sauce.
And 2 tickets to Eggfest.
2 tickets to the
That is
August
$80,
Eggfest.
$40 a ticket.
Look at you right there coming up big. Yeah. Cardinal Jack's with Pat Sullivan right now. Hello, Cardinal Jack.
Cardinal Jack just dropped.
Cardinal Jack is gone.
You know what we do for Eggfest?
What do you do?
There's a VIP. Where everybody's getting in on the VIP thing.
Sure.
The VIP experience. You know what it involves with Eggfest?
Mark Sion running around like crazy?
For $40 extra, you get a table and 6 chairs.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is. Sells out.
Yeah.
They have their own little section. They have their own access to their own bathroom.
Yeah. Listen, I think that the own bathroom thing is a big deal.
Yes, it is.
Especially with me. I don't know. I'm assuming everybody in this room may not have a similar issue. But listen, I'm going to the bathroom at the age of 55. And this is not #AskPat question, but probably double-digit times a day.
Is
Seriously,
that because you drink so much? Or do you have
I'm like a fountain.
Do you have a little prostate problem going on?
I may have.
Yeah.
I need now #AskPat. If I were to digest a sponge, would that help?
Actually, I think. How about, are you on any ED medicine like Cialis or anything? That kind of can help the prostate.
It's almost like I do more urinating than I do actually. I think I spend more time urinating than I'm on the air every day. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, at night, it's constant.
I would take Cialis daily.
Like a slow flow through me.
That'll.
Yeah.
Call me. See, let me know how you're doing.
Is there anything I can take? Did you say Cialis?
Yeah.
Does that help?
Yeah. There's an off-label use for prostate.
Well, what do I do with? Oh, so it's not just because Cialis is synonymous with a boner med.
A lot of times, drugs will have dual uses.
Well, what do I do?
And off-label,
it takes care of one, but what do I do? I don't want to run around at night bumping into things. Got to knock the lamp off the table.
Quite honestly, I don't really think you are aware of how the drug actually works. I'll explain it to you later.
I'm trying to think about it. Hey, Jay Ryan has this. Hashtag Ask Pat. Can we finally get JMV to take part of the annual Slaw Fest, which, by the way, is now complete.
It is.
For 2025.
It is.
I know he isn't a fan, but sometimes in life you have to try new things.
I have offered to make you the Grand Marshal of the Slawfest Parade.
What was that, 2 months ago?
It was in June. So
last month. Okay.
Yeah.
How'd it go? Was it
really
smashingly
good? Really good. Now, we had, I will tell you that it was the day after Game 6.
Oh.
And everybody is really bummed out.
Yeah, that's tough right there.
Really bummed out. And then it was, and, of course, they said it was going to rain all day. But we still had about almost 300 people.
Hashtag Ask Pat from Ben. Is Paradise Day Watson a good place to grow weed, or does the burning bush stifle the weed growth?
I'm not answering.
You probably could if you wanted to over there, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Man, I missed you. This is only the second one
I know
this year we have done. Hashtag Ask Pat.
I know. You're busy. Well, it was the Pacers. It was great, though.
Yeah, it was great.
2 solid months of playoffs.
It is almost like, too, that Pacer fans had to pay a penalty for all that. It's like, all right, you guys can have just this iconic postseason, and what a great year, but here's the price you got to pay now. Your best players done for next season, and one of your starting fives going to your bitter rival.
That's right.
So you got to, live through some jacked up stages
and you're
to get to the other
still
side.
not back on your correct sleep cycle.
Yeah.
Because, people that normally were going to bed at 9:30, 10 o'clock, you're staying up till almost midnight.
With
the
those
game's
games?
in at
Oh,
11,
yeah.
and then you're jacked up till midnight.
There's zero way after any of those games anybody can go to bed.
It was awesome.
And it was funny, that Summer League game they played yesterday in Vegas, the Summer League game number 1 was very reminiscent. Big come from behind, down 16, come from behind.
Yeah.
I think down, 7 or 8 late in the final 2 minutes to win. Very reminiscent of how they got stuff done in the postseason.
And it was really cool. I will say the people I ran into on the East Coast, they were very aware of the Indiana Pacers.
Well, they should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the year before, Boston, whom I'm assuming if you're in Rhode Island, they're fans of the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, actually they were.
Yeah.
They were Boston fans.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
I think I saw this a little bit earlier. What is 2 o'clock Pacific time? Is that 5 here? Is that when Myles Turner meets with the media?
I believe it is 3 hours.
Can I get off? So I'm going to have Chad
us.
Buchanan on this show while Myles is talking for the first time with the Milwaukee media.
I believe that'll be 5 o'clock.
And I believe he's in Vegas doing this. So if I could have Chad Buchanan just go to that press conference.
Just do a live reaction.
That's just going to be great. Timing's the best right there. All right, Sullivan Hardware and Garden, your locations?
Yeah, 71st and Keystone. We have our store. A fun thing that if you're married with children, Slider Sunday at our Allisonville location.
Oh, man.
I think they're $2 or $3. There's a guy that plays. There's some live music, and there's a playground for the kids.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And you've got I haven't called in 2 weeks.
Oh, because I wasn't there.
On Saturday, I couldn't get in. I think I called in a couple of times when something was going on, and I forgot both times.
You still have the new hotline number,
Well, you'll have to send it to me again.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't. And it's not even reminiscent of the old one either. So.
No. So I got to look it up. I have it somewhere, though.
Home and Garden Show tomorrow morning. That's with Pat, Denny, Terry, and Allison.
From 9 until 1.
It is spectacular.
No, wait. I think we're off early because of IU football. Is that right?
No. That is not underway yet, but it will be one of these days.
That's the best. Not that I don't love doing all 4 hours.
Yep.
But there's nothing better than coming in and finding it's like, hey, IU plays at noon. It's like,
The Home and Garden Show tomorrow morning, 93 WIBC. It is underway at 9 a.m. That is Pat Sullivan. Hashtag Ask Pat. Somebody's going to win. James will pick it. Great job, Pat.
Thanks.
Great
John.
to see you again. Quick break. We'll come back. We've got Chad Buchanan coming up after 5. You do not go anywhere. Your calls at 239-1070 and more is coming up next.
Make it fast. I'm in a damn hurry.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Oh, turn this up from 1985 right here. You guys remember Kevin Godley and Lowell Cream? No, not Cream City. That's Milwaukee. But Godley and Cream in this classic from 85. Cry. Godley and Cream, they were both with 10cc in the 70s. This is that video, if you remember this, of the 1980s. JMV Takeover, by the way, tomorrow night, and it's about the 1980s from 6 until midnight on B105.7. Really, the only live radio all-request show anywhere. And I explained that to Greg Rakestraw, and hopefully I didn't offend anybody out there. And if I did, that's, I guess, kind of too bad. But there's a lot of truth to what I said. Not everybody falls into that category. But Godley and Cream and Cry from 85's video had the morphing of the faces that were crying, if you remember. It was edgy back then. It was like freakish, weird. Pacers signed for 3 years and $21 million. Another center. That's Isaiah Jackson. So their pivot by committee is now complete to take the place of Myles Turner, who evidently Myles is going to meet with the media in Las Vegas, coming up here at the top of the hour as a new member, and for the first time with the Milwaukee Bucks. That should be great. Chad Buchanan, Pacers general manager, is going to join us at some point between 5 and 5:30. He is also in Vegas, but I highly doubt he is going to be live at that particular news conference. I bet not. Now, I do wonder this. Is Tony East out there? I'm assuming we have some people from here that are out there right now. I bet they'll be covering it. And we'll find out from Myles exactly how all that goes down. I think we know. I think we understand a pretty good deal of it right now. But Isaiah Jackson back in the fold. So Jackson, Huff, Bradley, and Wiseman is the pivot by committee. JMV, are you going to give live coverage on your show at 5? Probably not. We'll probably mention it, though, I would imagine, those skips. I think you got to kind of mention it, don't you? JMV, my parents had 2 burning bushes on the corner of their property, and they were beautiful. Someone was huffing nitrous, blacked out, and took out both bushes. Awesome. Sounds fantastic. Hey, by the way, James, I want to ask you this because James is back in. Nathaniel left. Is everybody taken care of? Dave Matthews Band and Sounds of Summer. Are we all good?
Everybody should be taken care of.
All right. Has Corbin got his tickets?
Corbin's got his tickets.
Woo!
Now, I'm assuming you didn't give away any of the tickets.
I didn't.
Have not given any tickets away today.
I've given away no tickets so far today.
Well, so I have not heard from, who was it, Doug?
Doug Shelton for Sounds of Summer.
I have not heard from him. I haven't put him in, so.
Doug, if you call in right now, if you're listening, James will give you Sounds of Summer at the State Fair on me, brother. That is Doug Shelton. And I'm assuming there's probably more than one Doug Shelton out there, but I guarantee that's Doug Shelton right there. That's it. Is this Doug? You got to be Doug Shelton. We also have Earth, Wind, and Fire we'll give away a little bit later on. Back-to-back Dave Matthews Band show start this weekend. I know a lot of you, I've heard from you, are going to be hanging out with my friend Brent Halverson and the lovely Lisa at Mystic Waters Campground. That is the hub of those that are hanging out for the entirety of the Dave Matthews Band weekend at Ruoff. And, by the way, too, hopefully you have signed up to be a AAA member. This is the weekend where you take advantage. You get a little early entry, Premier Lounge. Those are the perks, some of the perks you get as a AAA member at Ruoff. So make sure that you do. AAA.com. Make sure you tell them that I sent you. I just want you to have some fun. Some easy-going, hassle-free fun. So become a AAA member today. Dream of the Fever coming up later on tonight. That is a 7:30 tip time, which means your coverage begins here on the Fan at 7:15. Eddie Garrison will lead you to John Nolan and Bria Goss here, and hopefully leading the Fever to a win because, man, do they need it. Just a little consistency, higher level of play consistency, and a much better performance than you got with that noon debacle on Wednesday with the Fever against Golden State. You were hoping for much better than that. It cannot be like that again. At some point, you got to turn things around. Yeah, I saw this quick update from the Iowa Speedway where evidently in the past 20 minutes, was that Doug right there?
That was Doug.
All right, Doug Shelton, everybody, taken care of. Evidently, there was a tornado warning. That's Newton, Iowa. The Iowa Speedway, of course, IndyCars in Iowa this weekend. And Scott McLaughlin actually has a picture from the Iowa Speedway of a tornado in the distance right there. I don't know if anybody has seen that, but yeah. He says, quote, first for everything. And that is a funnel cloud on the ground, not too far from the Iowa Speedway right there. Yeah, that's some incredible stuff. All right, quick break. We'll come back. Do not miss Chad Buchanan, Pacers GM, is going to join us coming up at the 5 o'clock hour. I mentioned a little bit earlier, too, the former Pacer, Myles Turner, will meet with the Milwaukee, and I'm assuming and beyond, the rest of the NBA media in Vegas. That is coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. I don't know how much you're going to learn from that, but I'm assuming there will be more information shared regarding that. And Isaiah Jackson officially back with the Pacers, 3 years and $21 million. You have that. And, of course, you have the Fever later on tonight. We'll take a break and come back. Why you need to join us coming up in August as well, down in Franklin, where I was a little bit earlier today. We'll explain that coming up next. And your calls at 239-1070. Don't go anywhere unless you join me on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Anybody knock anymore?
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Summertime Spectacular from the 1980s. JMV Takeover tomorrow night. And it's B105.7. Hashtag JMV Takeover, 6 until midnight. We're powered by Big Red Liquors. Mostly living in the 1980s coming up tomorrow night. Yeah, big weekend for everything. I know a lot of you, and I'm glad we made a lot of you, or it gave you the opportunity to go see Dave tonight, either tonight or tomorrow night at Ruoff Music Center. JMV, where do you plan on going this weekend outside of doing the JMV Takeover? Well, normally my Sunday at Paradise Day Watson, you know what happens there. The hammer comes down. And not the Jason hammer, but the hammer. The hammer of alcoholic beverages. I got to cut it loose a little bit. I will also tell you I am out next week, Monday and Tuesday. I am back Wednesday. Behringer's live on the south side, actually South Meridian, near south side of downtown. Behringer's is an iconic staple venue. We were there in April. It was incredible. I cannot wait to see you again. Behringer's coming up on Wednesday, so I don't want you to forget about that. Wednesday at Behringer's, I am going to go. My mom's truck is malfunctioning, so Thursday, some dude named Rob is going to fix it for her down there, I think. I'm going to some guy in Fayetteville with her. Actually, I think she wants to drop it off, and then I'm going to take her back home. But Thursday, I'm out. Friday, I'm at O'Reilly's with Brent Halverson. I think Tamika Catchings will join us. And we got the okay from Sydney Parrish, the former Hoosier and Miss Basketball in the state of Indiana, who is scheduled to join us live. So then that brings us to the WNBA All-Star Weekend. And IBE, I think, is on too. And that Friday night, I thought initially it was on a Saturday. That Friday night, off the top of my head, I think it's Cameo. Is it Christopher Williams? SWV, Sisters with Voices. You ever heard of SWV over there, James? No?
I have not, no.
And the headliner is our guy, Mr. Make It Last Forever, Keith Sweat. So that's next Friday. We're at O'Reilly's downtown next Friday. So you have to join us. That is a must. And I will remind you again, just taking a little bit of time off before things really kick back into gear with Colts camp. 22nd, they report at Grand Park. And the 23rd is that first practice. Isaiah Jackson, 3 years, $21 million. That's reported by ESPN and Shams a little bit earlier. He joins 3 other pivots. The pivot by committee seems to be complete. Chad Buchanan, Pacers GM, is going to join us coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Joshua at 239-1070 right now. Joshua was the name to get into the Whopper in War Games, Joshua. Were you aware of this?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. No, this is my friend Josh from Saturday night.
Yeah.
I got you. That's 1980s reference right there. You'll love that.
Yeah.
Good to hear from you, buddy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just so excited about the Pacers doing good. I hope they do good next year.
I hope you're right, too. And I have a lot, even with the losses, Josh, I have a lot of confidence in them, buddy.
Yeah.
You going to call me tomorrow night?
Yep.
You got a request for me? You going to let me pick, or are you going to pick one?
I'll let you pick.
Well, I'm pretty good at picking. You like the songs that I pick for you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you call tomorrow night, JMV Takeover, after 6, okay, buddy?
Okay, bye.
That is my buddy Josh right there. I love Josh because, normally I just like to play what I like to play anyway. He says, yeah, it's an all-80s weekend on B105.7. Why don't you play what you want to play? And I go, hell yeah. Here it comes. And Adam's next at 239-1070. Hello, Adam.
Hey, John. How you doing?
Talk to me, Adam.
Just a question for you. Is it possible to get one of them JMV Sucks T-shirts shipped out to me when I go out and run? I can wear that and support the brand.
It is. Now, I'll have to get with the shop in Broad Ripple and Carmel and Brian and Alex. We need to get you like running shirt material, don't we?
Or a cotton shirt. I usually wear a cotton shirt. Like my team shirt's a cotton shirt, but I also have the moisture wicking as well.
Why don't you just go shirtless, brother? Just like paint JMV, write JMV sucks on your chest when you run. Do that.
And then have somebody take pictures of it?
Yes. Take definitely pictures of it.
I mean, I'd rock a shirt too, just let you know. I mean, I'm a long-time listener, as you know, and I'm the crazy runner that you talk to most of the time.
I love it. I'm not a big runner. I feel I'm in the best shape of my life. I just the whole long distance running thing has never appealed to me. I've said this before. I've always kind of viewed that as punishment, as opposed to anything recreational or workout wise. It was like, hey, you know what? You did this wrong. You got bad grades. You got caught being out too late. You got caught drinking. Go run. It was a punishment.
I got one more thing for you.
Yes.
So I know you're doing the JMV 1980 takeover on Saturday. Well, tomorrow.
Right on.
I'm going to be in Eagle Creek tomorrow evening. There's a night trail half marathon. Hell, you should just come on by there and DJ for them. I'm sure they'd love it.
Why don't I? Or I'll play you some running songs. I can play Silent Running by Mike and the Mechanics. There's a song called Running by Manfred Mann that's a little known, classic from the 80s. It Keeps You Running, Running on Empty, Doobie Brothers, Jackson Brown. There are a ton of running songs. Run to You, Bryan Adams. How about I just hit you up with running songs tomorrow night?
Oh, I mean, that's cool. The race starts at 9:30, so I should be in town probably around 6:30.
Got it. Adam, I appreciate you.
I got to sign up by 8 o'clock, so I'll be out at the field at 8, waiting to kick off things at 9:30.
Running songs on the inbound for you tomorrow night, Adam. Thank you.
Awesome. I'll be listening.
Yeah, man. I just rattled off like 10 running songs off the top. Were you impressed by that? The catalog in my brain substantial. Jimmy, you can lead on the other side. Anybody else that wants to join, you can too. And Chad Buchanan, I want to like joke around and say we'll get Chad Buchanan on after he attends the Myles Turner press conference out in Las Vegas. Chad is in Vegas with the rest of the Pacers Summer League squad. Chad joins us, the general manager, between now and 5:30. Also, your Harrah's Hoosier Park race of the day. Sit tight for all of it, meaning don't go anywhere. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
On drugs. Any questions? 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
No, this is for Adam right here. He's running at Eagle Creek tomorrow on one of the running songs of the JMV Takeover from the 1980s. This classic from Bryan Adams. I still say Bryan Adams was awesome a couple of years ago at Carb Day. Who's with me on that assessment right there? Everybody? Myles Turner with the media as a new member of the Bucs in Vegas should be highly entertaining. I'm guessing we'll follow that a little bit. Chad Buchanan, Pacers general manager. I mean, hell, maybe he is attending. He did tell me initially we had this set for 5 o'clock, and he said, hey, can we push it back to around 5:30? Maybe he's attending. Surely not. We'll see what he said right there. 5:30 is best for him.
5:30 on the dot?
5:30 on the dot is best for him. So there it is. Gonna make sure we got that time on the other side, too. I can't imagine. Come on. Chad's going to join us in the better part of about 30 minutes from now. So we do have time. Isaiah Jackson, 3 years, $21 million. That was reported by ESPN and Shams a little bit earlier today. So we had talked about those that are taking place. The place of Myles Turner would be the battery of pivots right there. So Isaiah Jackson, one of them. Jackson, Bradley, Huff, and Wiseman would be that particular group. Dream and Fever coming up later on tonight. 7:30 coverage begins, and we'll check in with Eddie Garrison coming up here at about 7:15. Yes, we do still. We'll try to do that as best we can. Move some stuff up, move around the Harrah's-Hoosier Park race of the day. But, hey, I have time for you right now. Somebody had asked me a little bit earlier what is on tap this weekend. I kind of explained both Sunday and then Saturday and what they had to next week because I am going to be out 3 days next week. That's Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. But we'll be at Behringer's with you on the show on Wednesday and at O'Reilly's downtown with Brent Halverson, Sidney Parrish, Tamika Catchings, and more coming up next Friday. So Wednesday and Friday in, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday out of next week. But I'm going to something called Cornstalk Fest or something tonight. Our good friend Clayton Anderson is going to take the stage at 9:30, and I'm going to go down and see Clayton. That's not too far from where I live. It is right outside of Morgantown. Bean Blossom is the location. The Bill Monroe, who's a bluegrass icon. I think it's some kind of camping park or something down there, but hell, I'm going to go see Clayton tonight. 9:30, just outside of Morgantown in a place called Bean Blossom. On the way to Brown County, down 135. I'll pass Miss M's Home and Garden on the way. Shout out to Brian and the gang there. All right, 239-1070. Promise some calls, and Jimmy is hanging out up next. Hello, Jimmy. How are you?
Hey, what's up, John? Long time no talk.
Jimmy, it's good to have you back on. How are you and the family doing?
Everyone's doing great. My dad's driving right along beside me, so he said to tell you hello.
Awesome. Are you guys going to the Fever game tonight?
We are not, actually. We're not going tonight, but hopefully later in the year I'll make a game. I'm really impressed with the way they're playing, even though the record doesn't totally support that. I think the women's game has come a long way, and I obviously appreciate what Caitlin Clark has done and all the attention they're getting. So it's been awesome, and it'll be great to have the All-Star game here next weekend. So I just want to talk about the Pacers. First off, give Chad Buchanan my best. He's a great guy. He knows a lot about the game, obviously. And
he is a tremendous guy.
I think what he's done with the team has been underappreciated. And losing Myles hurts. Myles is a great player. I wish him nothing but the best. But I think Isaiah and James Wiseman are going to step into their roles nicely, and also Jay Huff, the guy we brought in from Grizzlies. So, but I'm really looking forward to it, and one more thing, John. Good luck
Yes.
to your Reds this weekend against the Rockies. And
Yes.
Hopefully my Cubbies can sweep the Yankees.
Well, the Reds
John,
won
you have a
too.
great-
You too, Jimmy. Thank you very much. Say hi to your dad and your family too. Reds go 2 in a row against the Marlins to close out that series, and that was much better than the way that it started. So I just got a quote. I don't know. Are you listening to any Myles quotes over there yet? I've seen quotes, but I've not heard sound. So Myles is meeting with the media in Vegas right now, being introduced as a new member of the Bucks. And this should piss me off too, to be honest. It should piss me off because I have been hardcore about believing in this team even without Tyrese Halliburton. And I haven't heard the quote. I'm just reading a quote courtesy of Tony East. This quote should piss me off. And it does. Because I believe in this team. I don't think this team is going to fall off nearly as far as what others believe. So this, according to Tony East, Myles Turner quote, are you ready? Ultimately, it was about just staying competitive. I saw a chance to remain competitive here. And that really does fly in the face of everything that I've talked about, so I don't like that at all. I happen to think the Pacers are still going to be competitive, even with the losses of Halliburton for the season with the injury. Then again, I don't know the context in which, hopefully we can hear some of the sound before I bail, but what? Just say it's about I think people would rather hear it's about the money. You know what? It's about the money. Or I got lowballed. We'll talk to Chad Buchanan coming up at the bottom of the hour. Whatever. It's about the past. How many times they try to trade me. Offer sheet to 8, any of this stuff. I don't want to hear a damn thing about how this team can't be competitive next year. Because I know you're going to play alongside one of the greatest in the world and one of the greatest of all time in Giannis coming up this year. But, I mean, hell, you look at their roster, and nothing jumps off the page there. Does it? Outside of Giannis? James, you got sound for me? Am I going to get pissed about this sound?
I've got the quote that you just talked about.
This is Myles from the presser.
Yeah, setting was important. It was a ball place other than Hawaii, so not a bad place to, do some free agency work. But for me, ultimately it was about just staying competitive. 2 years ago, got to Eastern Conference Finals. Obviously, last year we got to the finals, but being there, being part of it, winning basketball, it's just changed my entire perspective on this league. And I saw a chance to remain competitive here. And John, even Doc, has assured me that winning is the top priority here, and we just align with our visions.
That's gonna piss me off right there. Listen, I'm not suggesting the Pacers are going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals or back to the NBA Finals, but I expect them to be competitive. And I don't look at the Bucks and think that they're any more in line to go to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals as the Pacers are. Yeah, listen, and I understand if it comes down to money. I understand if it comes down to the fact that Tyrese Halliburton is lost for the season, and believe me, we all know what he meant to Myles here. Let's face it, he meant everything offensively because Myles was nothing like that before Halliburton got here. He was much better once Halliburton got here, and this offense was cranked up. Nothing like it. So I get that. And you're saying, well, they have no Halliburton. They have Kevin Porter Jr. as their point guard up there. And while that's probably going to suck, they do have Giannis. And Giannis with the basketball, and especially when everybody goes to him to guard him, will leave a lot of people, including 33, open. JMV, they're projected to get to 44 wins He's clearly not got an eye for talent. He's got an eye for money. I would rather hear that. I would rather hear it's time to move on. I'm going to get a big payday right here than I'm going to go someplace else to be more competitive. See, that pisses me off. Now, I don't want this to give me a bad weekend, but this may set up a bad weekend for me. I don't want to hear anything about that. Because I would say the same thing to you if you call me and say, well, I don't expect these guys to be competitive. And I'm not talking about to the level of finals competition. But to suggest that they're just going to get flushed down the toilet because of all this, I'm sorry, I have a more deeply rooted belief in the core group that returns. And how I feel about it. JMV, the Bucks would lose another series of the Pacers next year, even without Halliburton. Myles is full of it on that staying competitive crap. I don't like that at all. And I like him. I don't dislike him, but I don't want to hear a damn word about that. Say, look what the Bucks did. Look how motivated they were to keep me. Say maybe the Pacers weren't that motivated. Anything but it's going to be more competitive. You are going to play alongside one of the best players in the world. But you're also going to play alongside a guy that is massively overrated and normally sucks the life out of the room, and that's Kyle Kuzma. I would feel better if he said that if Chris Middleton still played there and not Kyle Kuzma. And your point guard's Kevin Porter Jr. And you're relying on Gary Trent. I'm sorry, all the names I mentioned right now, I have a hell of a lot more confidence in the cast that remain with the Pacers. Again, that core group. Maybe that's wrong. That's how I feel. Thank you, James, for that. That was from the Bucks presser, I think, that is ongoing. Chad Buchanan's going to join us. I can't wait to get the reaction. I don't know if I'm assuming he's not there. No, it's not going to ruin my weekend, man. I'll have some beverage and get over it, but come on with the competitive bull crap here. Just say anything else. Yeah, I got paid. Yeah, I got sick and tired of, going through all this, the ups and downs. I needed a change of scenery. My guy's going to be down for the season, whatever. But the lack of, I think that is to me, that's a slap to that team concept and those that remain playing. Like if I was Nimhard to Matherin to TJ McConnell to Obi, I'd be pissed. Siakam, Nesmith, I'd be pissed. Chad Buchanan coming up. Harris Leisure Park Race of the Day. More me, more of you. 239-1070. Don't go anywhere. It's 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, they all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, this is Wednesday, the 23rd of this month. You're going to get a little earth, a little wind, and a little fire at Everwise Amphitheater downtown Indy, and you'll hear this song, and maybe with Fulton and his ukulele. Number 9 at 239-1070. You can go see Earth, Wind, and Fire on us. I have seen Earth, Wind, and Fire before. It's a spectacular show. I promise you're going to have a great time. Everwise is a great venue. The 23rd, which is a Wednesday. And again, if you win these tickets, as I brought up yesterday, you have to track me down. Actually, I'll track you down. You owe me a cocktail. All right? I consider that one an even trade. 239-1070. Number 9 is going to go see Earth, Wind, and Fire on us. I think Golden had this on his social media account here on X. Myles Turner, his press conference. Another week. If I wasn't already pissed off enough about the quote, ultimately it was about just staying competitive, I saw a chance to remain competitive here. And I know that that's just an opinion. Maybe because Giannis is there, you feel like that you have a better angle. Maybe there are non-believers here. But I positioned myself firmly as a believer in this core group still, not being as bad as everybody else says. So competitive, I get. I don't see either the Pacers nor Milwaukee at any finals level, whether it's Eastern Conference or certainly NBA Finals. But competitive for the Pacers, I do strongly believe. And Golden had this quote. Am I an aggregator because I'm reading this now? I don't want to nerdify things. Quote, my former team, we were just young and hungry. My former team. That sounds like when NASCAR is talking about the competitors on the track. Well, you know, the 14 was coming up my rear end. Well, I saw the 14 out there, and then the 12 got, quote, my former team, we were just young and hungry. I look at this team as a veteran group of guys that just want to win by any means necessary. There's a reason why guys want to be here. Everybody sees the vision. They don't resign just to do it. I just think that there is a real belief within this organization, and I align myself with that. Again, just say it's for the money. Just say that you're sick and tired. I guess you kind of are saying you're sick and tired of this organization and you want it out. There's one thing, and I have been incredibly supportive over the past 7 years, but I do believe in this group, and that is my position of support right now. That is just, I'm sorry, that is just awful. I think everybody around here would have understood, well, you know, Milwaukee came at me really hard, and look what they did to try to make sure that they have a legitimate shot. You know, I knew the situation the Pacers were in. Blame it on no Tyrese Halliburton. Anything but that. The more competitive thing. Ed writes this, JMV, I just heard those Myles comments since he got traded. I've been telling everyone that the Bucks signed him because they know Giannis will eventually force a trade. Love Myles, but he might regret those comments. I think I probably shouldn't care, right? The only thing that impacts me is my opinion. Who cares? But how do you think guys that he played with? I brought up, Nembhard and Nesmith and Siakam and Obi, Matherin, all the teammates that are still here. Oh, yeah, you guys stink, so I'm going to Milwaukee. Great. Seriously. Just say that. You guys stink, so I'm going to Milwaukee. You guys stink, so I bailed. That's why I suggest Milwaukee came at me hard, and I thought this was an opportunity. Do I have to write everything for everybody? Not to make somebody sound like a jackass? Seriously. Do I need to put pen to paper? Here are the things you should say that are accurate. This is how you're going to be portrayed. This is how you don't sound like a jackass. I mean, you talk about just setting ablaze those teammates when you're leaving town. That's not good. Not good at all. All right, Chad Buchanan coming up at the bottom of the hour, 5:30. The Pacers GM is in Vegas, and we'll get his thoughts on that, which should be incredibly entertaining. Also, the Harrah's Hoosier Park race of the day, 50-50 in betting and dining. Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson is now.
With JMV.
Here's Johnny David Letterman.
Hi,
David. I'm Grandpa.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
But for me, ultimately it was about just staying competitive. 2 years ago, got to Eastern Conference Finals. Obviously, last year we got to the finals. But being there, being part of it, winning basketball, has just changed my entire perspective on this league. And I saw a chance to remain competitive here. And John and even Doc has assured me that winning is a top priority here. And we just align with our visions.
There's Myles Turner from his Vegas presser within the last 30 minutes. And joining us now from Vegas as well on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline is Pacer General Manager Chad Buchanan. I'll start right here, and you can comment. You don't have to comment, but I think that is a mouthful of crap right there. I hate that, every second of it. I do. And I don't know if it's more, Chad, about my belief, and I know that this is not something that is shared universally around the NBA, or even around here for that matter, but I have so much more of a deeply rooted belief in the higher level of competition that this core group you guys are bringing back will provide without Tyrese Halliburton. I don't want to hear anything like that, because I think your squad is going to be just like Milwaukee or really anybody else in the East. They may not be Eastern Conference Championship level stuff, but I think they're going to be highly competitive, and stuff like that irritates me fully.
Well, I would say this. I think this year's team, much of it returning next year, has shown an identity of fight, an identity of togetherness, an identity of playing for each other, pulling for each other, everybody pulling in the same direction. And when you have that, special things happen like we saw this year. And I don't anticipate our identity, our focus, our everyday approach to change at all next year because of, some slight changes in what our roster might look like for next season.
When you hear that quote, what comes to mind?
I mean, every player has a right to feel how they feel. I'm thankful, wish Myles the best, obviously. I think our players are very competitive, very prideful. They're going to approach every game with the intention of winning, and Myles is built the same way. So I don't fault him for feeling that way, and it's not me to decide how he feels about our team or his new team. I'm focused on our group, and I'm excited about the group of guys we have coming back.
Oh, that made me mad. You actually texted me over the weekend about how I felt at that moment. This moment pisses me off more than that other one did, to be honest with you. I hate that because I guess I have such a profound respect for that core group and their belief in team. I think that's a slap in the face to those guys. I just do. That sound, no matter how you have to say it or frame it in your new uniform, in your new landscape, I think that is a slap in the face to his former teammates, and I don't like it at all.
Well, I mean, I can't speak for his now former teammates, but I know how our guys operate. I know how competitive they are. I know how they're driven to be, to play well every night, and I don't think that's going to change regardless of who's, suiting up with them. I think the core of our team that is coming back has proven that they thrive when people overlook them, and when they're considered to be an underdog or considered to be an afterthought. That's when this group steps up and really performs well, and I think you're going to see that again next year. I think this group is going to be overlooked, and nobody's going to pick us to do much damage in the East, and that's just fine with us because I think these guys are going to be motivated to have a great off season. They got a taste of a deep playoff run, and they're going to want more of that in the future. And I think you're going to see a team come back very driven to prove a lot of people wrong again.
Yes, Chad Buchanan, the Pacer general manager. He's live with us in Vegas on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. We'll get to Summer League play and some other stuff in just a second, and some other news that I don't know if you're even allowed to talk about just yet that kind of broke within the last hour or so. But where'd all this thing go haywire in your estimation? And was it as simple as I put it here, that it was just a guy that was ready to leave?
I don't know about that part. I think, Myles was relatively happy with us, I believe. I mean, I can't say for sure that, but I think he felt an important role of part of our team with his role. And, our intention was to try to bring him back, and we were in good faith negotiations. And then all of a sudden he had chosen to take an offer from another team, which is, he has every right to do, and I don't fault him for that. Wish him the best, but it was never our intention to not try to bring him back. And As far as where things went wrong, I think the nature of the NBA and negotiations and unrestricted free agency is anything can happen. And we saw, something that I don't think many people foresaw happening come to play. And hey, that's, more power to him. He's got he's happy where he's at, and we're going to be just fine moving forward. We're going to adjust, and we've got some guys who are going to have more opportunity now at that position, and it might look a little different with how we play, largely because Tyrese isn't out there. But what Myles did was valuable to us, but we have some other guys at that position that are going to be given an opportunity that provides some different value to us as well, and anxious to see what those guys can do.
Were you guys ready to counter the Milwaukee deal?
I mean, we were in the midst of negotiations, so we were going back and forth, and then we weren't. And like I said, it's his right to take a deal if he feels another deal is right. He's unrestricted, and we understand that. But we were hopeful that we were going to continue the negotiation. But like I said, he has the power as an unrestricted free agent to take a deal, and we respect that. And unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But that's part of the business too, and we got to look forward.
When you say it's part of the business, have you ever had anything like that occur before?
Not that I can say that's comparable to that. I think we've had times where we felt there was a player that was happy with us that chose to go a different direction. That was very surprising. This one is a little different in the sense of how it happened. But we've had players, I think Bojan Bogdanovic is a great example. I thought Bojan had a great experience with us, and ultimately he went a different direction when we felt like we had a good chance to retain him. But it's, in free agency, once the season ends and other teams begin to talk to a player, they get, smitten by another team, another situation, and that's their right. That's part of unrestricted free agency, and it's unfortunate, how it played out for us because we hope to bring him back, but we also knew that this is a possibility. There's no guarantees in this business, and you kind of have to expect the unexpected at times.
It's Chad Buchanan, Pacers general manager. He is in Las Vegas for the Summer League. The Pacers, 5:30 tomorrow, get the incredible Brooks Barnhizer and OKC in Summer League play after yet another come-from-behind win in their first appearance against Cleveland yesterday in Las Vegas. Chad is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So handling making up for these losses, you guys feel like at least right now what you can do, you're never going to make up completely for them, but what you can put together is something that is under your own roof. Do you feel strongly about that?
I do. I think the one thing you can take away, a talent, a skill off of your team with what Tyrese did, and you can say what Myles did. You can take that away. The shooting, the passing, the pace, things like that, which were a big part of who we are, but you're not taking away the heart of what this team is about. We have some guys that are very invested in each other and very invested in what our coaches are preaching and very invested in the community and putting out there a style of play that makes our fans proud. And it probably is going to look a little different next year. You don't have Tyrese playing point guard, so it's, you're going to have a little different look there. And it's not going to be maybe the same style of play because you're taking away, Tyrese's talents, but you're not taking away the heart of what this core of guys are about. And like I mentioned earlier, you can doubt them all you want. You can say, hey, they've lost, a great player, which we have, and feel like, hey, this team is an afterthought. And I hope people do say that about us because I think that's when we play at our best. And I challenge, all of our guys, to this is opportunity for a lot of them too. Andrew Nembhard, for example, is probably going to have more on his plate. I think he's ready for it, and I think you're going to see him take another step. I think Benedict Mathurin, Obi Toppin, Isaiah Jackson, Jay Huff, who we just acquired, James Wiseman. There's plenty of guys that have built the same cloth of competitiveness, of desire to play well, desire to win. They're going to buy into how we play, and I'd be very surprised if we don't have another successful season.
Jay Huff was a trade you guys initiated with the Memphis Grizzlies as a backup pivot down in Memphis. How do you think he translates to what you guys do, and especially how you guys run things offensively, Chad?
If you go back, I think it's been 3 years ago, the Mad Ants played in the G League playoffs. We played over in Washington, D.C. in the first round against the Wizards G League team, and we all traveled over for that game, and we watched big white kid, Jay Huff, just absolutely dominate us and really put himself more on our radar than he ever been before. And as we tracked him over the last couple of years, watched his development, watched his growth this year when he got minutes in Memphis, and really felt like his ability to shoot the ball, his feel for how to play, and his character were fit to what, our system and our culture was all about. So we'd always had some interest there. And then, now that getting the opportunity to add him, I think what you're losing is some of the stretch shooting part of Myles. Jay can replace some of that. Jay's got, young legs. He's 26 years old. He knows how to play. He understands how to fit a role. And I think, if you look at our 5-man position, Isaiah Jackson, James Wiseman, Tony Bradley right now, none of those 3 guys are probably best known for stretching the floor. So we felt like it was important to have a guy at that position that could provide some spacing for Pascal, for Drew, for other players. And I think Jay will provide a lot of that for us. So it's excited to see what he can do in our system. He's obviously a guy who's bounced around a little bit, and we've had some success with guys who haven't necessarily found like the perfect spot for them, and we're hoping that we're the perfect spot for Jay.
As you could probably tell right there, that's Pacers general manager Chad Buchanan kind of telling me that I can talk about these guys in the pivot and maybe not something else that has been recently reported. I respect that. That is general manager savvy until something is made official, and Chad's from Vegas on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. That is well done. Hey, I'm on the lookout right now for rotational minutes because you get some rotational minute opportunities on a team that went the distance in the NBA Finals a year ago. What exactly are you guys looking for? I know it's all not going to happen at once in one performance in Vegas, but what are you looking for as far as guys jumping off the page with this particular group that could earn themselves some rotational minutes coming up this season?
I think our group out here in Vegas is a blend of a couple guys that are two-way contract, type players, and then you've got Johnny Furphy, we're looking for him to kind of take another jump. I think in Summer League, it's very common to see a guy in his second run at Summer League really show a lot of growth because they're a little more comfortable. They've had a year of NBA experience under their belt, and I think you started to see that from Johnny before he got injured yesterday, unfortunately. But I think we're excited about where his game can go, where he can grow as a player, where he can grow as a fit with the way we play it. When we drafted Johnny, we saw a lot of qualities in his game and his play style that matched the way we play. And I think as we had him, with us for our first year, we saw a lot of those signs that are encouraging that this is a guy who can do a lot of the same things that Ben Shepherd does, but he's a 6'8", 6'9", small forward. And we've seen the success that Ben has had, playing a role for us. And we see potential for Johnny to do that and even potentially more because of his size, his athleticism, and his youth. And, another guy, Cam Jones, who we just drafted, want to see how he handles NBA-level quickness and speed. And can he make plays, get to the paint, against NBA-caliber size and athleticism? I think we saw, some signs of that yesterday. It's obviously just one game, but he's a guy who loves to compete. He's a winner. He's got a great character to him. And feel like that is a guy who at some point down the road for us is going to be important to step in and play. With no Tyrese, that takes away a backcourt player who played a lot of minutes. It's going to put more, opportunity in front of some other guys, and that could trickle down to Cam. So anxious to see what he does over these next 4 games with us out here because I think he's learning a lot every day, every practice, and I think there's real potential there with him.
So Richie McKay, the head coach at Liberty, Talon Peters' head coach, told me last week that Talon's kind of like me if I were 30, 35 years younger and had some hops. Is there any truth to that?
Well, if he's kind of like you, I think we made a mistake on that draft.
Oh,
pick,
man,
that
hurts.
No, I think Talon had a very promising first game yesterday. What Talon is known best for is shooting, and he only took 1 3 yesterday, but found a lot of ways to impact the game. I thought his on-ball defense was very encouraging. He's moving without the ball, and I think there's a lot of room for him to grow and develop. I mean, he's only played Division I basketball for essentially 2 years and wedged in a couple of years of Division II. So the step up in competition was obviously massive yesterday, and it'll be even more massive once he gets to training camp. But he has an NBA skill in his shooting, and he has an NBA skill in his character and his work ethic. And I think, these four more games out here in Las Vegas, you'll see him shoot the ball more. and find ways to get open to make some threes for us, because that's really what he's going to provide, his best chance to provide for us in the long run.
Hey, Chad, I know you're not Rick Carlisle, because if you were by now, we'd be talking about music, I'm sure. But let's just say I'm kind of curious, because I get somebody here that is a huge part of the organization, and I'll talk 3 hours a day about, well, Nembhard slides to the 1 and Mathering goes to the starting lineup, and then how the rotation is altered that way. Is that a way to look at it, or might you guys have anything else in mind? And I did want to ask you this, because I'm such a fan of the pace of play that they play offensively. How will that, or how would you guys expect that? And I know that there are going to be adjustments made throughout the season, but do you expect that pace of play to be impacted because of the Halliburton loss in a major way going into this year?
I think it'd be crazy to not think that our pace would be affected a little bit, with losing Ty. And if you slide Drew over to the point, he's a different type of point guard. He's obviously very talented, very good player, but he's a different style of play. I think our coaches, one thing that is, Rick has many, many talents and strengths. His ability to adapt to his roster and maximize what he has is his biggest strength. And I think he would tell you, he had a team back in Dallas where he played 3 centers, basically equal minutes every night. And so he had success doing that as well. He, made the playoffs with a team that was playing 3 guys at the center position. And I think you saw him maximize so many of our guys this year as well. And I think it'll look a little different. We're not going to be, you don't have Ty throwing the ball up ahead as much. That's not necessarily how Drew operates, but I think we'll have a clear identity once you get through 15 to 20 games of how we're going to play, and our coaches will figure out the best way to keep us in the mix every night.
Everybody still, like coaching staff wise, everybody going to still be around? Does that dynamic change at all, or are we still too far ahead of the start of the season for anything like that?
Well, first of all, I think we have the best coaching staff in the
I'm
NBA,
right there with you.
Top to bottom.
Yes, I completely agree.
And we are going to do everything we can to not lose any of them. Obviously, if they have opportunities to elevate, move up in their career, we'll, do our best to, support them if that's what they want. But we don't anticipate losing anybody at this point. And, I think it's very important, for us to keep this group intact from every staff member. I think our player development staff, video staff, everything top notch, from Rick all the way down to the last guy in the group.
So, Chad, I'm predicting here that the only assistant coach or coaching staff member to be wearing a boot this season is going to be Tyrese Halliburton. Is that how that's going to go?
I imagine he's going to see him pretty present around the team this year and sitting over there and just itching to be a part of it. So he's already been at every summer league practice, which says a lot about, how he feels about, he's supporting his friend Isaac Jakob, who's coaching the team, but just supporting the guys. He
loves hoop, man. That's it. He loves hoop. Perfect.
Tyrese is one of those guys. He would play the game for free. He would play basketball for free.
Well, we can always trade that if he wants, because I presently am. And I wear a boot sometimes too. So yeah, that's different. No, that's why I love guys like that. I do. It's another reason why I love Mathering. And there's still a lot of growth, a lot of maturity, and a lot of evolution going on with Benedict as well. But, man, he's just got something, I think, internally that not a lot of dudes have, and it starts with the love of basketball. I have a great deal of respect for that.
Sure, and I think we try to have as many of those guys that have that trait, the love of the game. When we draft a guy and we interview them, well, that's one of the things we truly try to dig deep on. Do you really love the game? Do you play it because you're athletic and you're good at it? Do you play it because you get the notoriety for it, or do you play it because you just love the game? And I think we have our locker room is full of guys who are wired like that they love competing. They love the game of basketball. They love to watch it. They love to play it. They love to learn about it. You see our guys supporting the Fever. You see our guys at high school events. You see our guys supporting each other with their national teams. It's a basketball loving group of young men that, really have a common interest. And, Benedict's, a great example of that. He's going to have a great opportunity next year in front of him. And I think he realizes that, we need him to kind of take another step forward for this team to be successful. And I think he's he's every bit as ready for that opportunity.
I know this is probably a question for Kevin, who was in front of the media earlier this week, but you guys, like sitting here right now with me as you're in Vegas, I'm here in Indy, do you feel as if, as far as the team is concerned, you guys are done with putting things together until the season, or, might we see some maneuvering here or there? Any expectations on that front?
Well, I would say we're always evaluating opportunities out there, whether it be here at Summer League for a two-way player or a bottom of the roster guy, or I'm out here talking to other teams on rosters, and there's always dialogue going on. But we're very, like I mentioned before, we're very careful on our culture and our locker room, the type of player that we bring in. It's got to be the right fit for our group, but we're always going to be looking to find ways to improve. If we sit back and think that, hey, we're just good and we don't need to do anything to try and get better, then we're going to, see the results of that approach on the court next year. So I think all of us, from the coaches down to the players to the front office, are finding ways, looking for ways to improve this team so we can continue to be competing for what, the same thing we competed for this year.
You and I have not conversed since the end of the season and how that went down. Considering Tyrese Halliburton in closing here and that 7-minute mark of the first quarter, I know how it felt for me watching it at home. I know how it felt for Pacer fans watching it wherever they were. How did that feel, for example, just internally for you when you were there watching that live in OKC?
Oh, it hurt. I mean, I'm not going to lie. That was about as painful as a moment as I've ever experienced in sports. Watching a guy who gives everything for his team, for his community, for the organization, put it all on the line in the biggest game of everyone's career, and to see that happen, and it's crushing, and it's heartbreaking to see, and to see how well he was playing up until that moment makes it even hurt a little more. But in the moment, you feel the pain of it, but then you got to kind of put that aside because you have a chance to win a championship still. So you try to put your emotions aside for the next 90 minutes and try to pull for your team to find a way to grind out a win. And it was encouraging to see our team continue to fight and battle. And when I walked into that locker room after the game, John, that was just probably the most hardest scene you could ever experience in sports. To see a group of guys who had done everything the right way, who had played for each other, who gave everything. Ultimately, Tyrese gives everything with his body, and guys just crushed. And it gives you it was a sign of it was unhappiness, obviously, and sadness, but it made you appreciate the group even more because how much it meant to every single one of those people in that locker room. And that's coaches, staff, players, everybody. And I'll never, ever, ever forget that moment.
It's Chad Buchanan, Pacers general manager. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. He's in Vegas. 5:30, I believe, tomorrow is game number 2 of the Vegas Summer League with the Pacers and OKC. Again, out in Las Vegas, you handled my pissiness incredibly well at the very beginning of this conversation. Because, and I never was mad at you guys, but I know this is not for you to say, but, man, those comments made at 5 o'clock out there today out of a former player did incite me just a little bit right there. Because I guess I just have a lot of trust and admiration and respect for those guys, that inner core group that remain there. And I thought that they were deserving of a little bit better. But thanks for handling it the way that you always do and coming on the show. I appreciate that more than you know.
Hey, anytime. I just say this, John. I appreciate, the following and the excitement we had for our team through that playoff run from you, from our fans, from all over. I mean, the messages I got during that run was just incredible, and it's something that we'll all remember forever, and I think we're all anxious to do it again very, very soon. But that's going to be hard to replicate, some of the special things that happened during our run. Ironically, I just drove by the Milwaukee Bucks general manager, John, so
no, did you? You walked by him or drove by him?
Drove by him.
Oh.
So
yeah, you're going to get me even more mad before I get out of here. I'm trying to have a nice weekend.
Would you like to talk to him?
Yeah. Go ahead, put him on the horn here. Go, what the hell? Listen, I understand what they did, and they did something that nobody's ever done at that level financially with the stretch and wave, but The comments of the former players what pissed me off more than anything. Not so much, how proactive they were to try to target somebody. So that happens. But anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, I appreciate that. Have a great time out there. Keep digging up that talent and get that core group back out there. You have a believer sitting right here. You know that to be true.
You got it. Appreciate your support, John.
You got it. Chad, thank you very much. Chad Buchanan, Pacers General Manager on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I'll revisit the absolute BS comments from Myles a little bit earlier. 7 years. I don't know if it's gone completely down the toilet, but there's been a little bit of flushing going on there because I hated every second of that. Quick break, we'll come back. Chad Buchanan Podcast, 1075thefan.com. Back with you next.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
I got crank that up. I don't know if I'm going to do anything goes because I'm extremely pissy right now. Chad Buchanan re-rack coming up here in a couple of minutes for you out in Las Vegas, the Pacer general manager. Tony East did a really good job. The Myles Turner press conference, that intro out in Vegas as a new member of the Bucks, took place a little bit after 5. And these are quotes that Tony put up, and I've read a couple, and they pissed me off. This is the start. Quote, I know it's going to take getting used to seeing me in this Bucks green. This is the one that got me. And granted, I don't expect the Pacers to be an Eastern Conference finalist and back to the NBA Finals. But I expect them to be a competitive Eastern Conference team. Quote, ultimately, it was about just staying competitive. This is Myles. I saw a chance to remain competitive here. And that here is Milwaukee, end quote. That is a complete slap in the face to his former teammates here. Those that are going to be participating. And I hate absolutely every second of that quote. This is also from Myles. There was alignment issues as far as me and them in talking about negotiations with the Pacers. And according to Tony, he would not elaborate. And I did ask Chad a number of things about that. So you can listen to the re-racking, or you can check it out at a podcast on 1075thefan.com. Anyway, Chad Buchanan coming up again in a couple of minutes. I did want to remind you, know me Monday or Tuesday. I am back on Wednesday at Behringer's, South Meridian. Friday will be here as well. I'll be downtown at O'Reilly's. JMV Takeover tomorrow night, 6 until midnight on B105.7. But if you missed it, here live from Vegas, Pacers General Manager Chad Buchanan. Joining us now from Vegas as well on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline is Pacer General Manager Chad Buchanan. I'll start right here, and you can comment, you don't have to comment, but I think that is a mouthful of crap right there. I hate that, every second of it. I do. And I don't know if it's more, Chad, about my belief, and I know that this is not something that is shared universally around the NBA, or even around here for that matter, but I have so much more of a deeply rooted belief in the higher level of competition that this core group you guys are bringing back will provide without Tyrese Halliburton. I don't want to hear anything like that, because I think your squad is going to be just like Milwaukee or really anybody else in the East. They may not be Eastern Conference Championship level stuff, but I think they're going to be highly competitive, and stuff like that irritates me fully.
Well, I would say this. I think this year's team, much of it returning next year, has shown an identity of fight, an identity of togetherness, an identity of playing for each other, pulling for each other, everybody pulling in the same direction. And when you have that, special things happen like we saw this year. And I don't anticipate our identity, our focus, our everyday approach to change at all next year because of, some slight changes in what our roster might look like for next season.
When you hear that quote, what comes to mind?
I mean, every player has a right to feel how they feel. I'm thankful, wish Myles the best, obviously. I think our players are very competitive, very prideful. They're going to approach every game with the intention of winning, and Myles is built the same way. So I don't fault him for feeling that way, and it's not me to decide how he feels about our team or his new team. I'm focused on our group, and I'm excited about the group of guys we have coming back.
Oh, that made me mad. You actually texted me over the weekend about how I felt at that moment. This moment pisses me off more than that other one did. to be honest with you. I hate that because I guess I have such a profound respect for that core group and their belief in team. I think that's a slap in the face to those guys. I just do. That sound, no matter how you have to say it or frame it in your new uniform, in your new landscape, I think that is a slap in the face to his former teammates, and I don't like it at all.
Well, I mean, I can't speak for his now former teammates, but I know how our guys operate. I know how competitive they are. I know how they're driven to be, to play well every night. And I don't think that's going to change regardless of who's, suiting up with them. I think the core of our team that is coming back has proven that they thrive when people overlook them and when they're, considered to be an underdog or considered to be an afterthought. That's when this group steps up and really performs well. And I think you're going to see that again next year. I think this group is going to be overlooked and nobody's going to pick us to do much damage in the East. And that's just fine with us because I think these guys are going to be motivated to have a great off season. They got a taste of a deep playoff run, and they're going to want more of that in the future. And I think you're going to see a team come back very driven to prove a lot of people wrong again.
He is Chad Buchanan, the Pacer general manager. He's live with us in Vegas on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. We'll get to Summer League play and some other stuff in just a second and some other news that I don't know if you're even allowed to talk about just yet that kind of broke within the last hour or so. But where'd all this thing go haywire in your estimation? And was it as simple as I put it here, that it was just a guy that was ready to leave?
I don't know about that part. I think, Myles was relatively happy with us, I believe. I mean, I can't say for sure that, but I think he felt an important role of part of our team with his role. And, our intention was to try to bring him back, and we were in good faith negotiations. And then all of a sudden he had chosen to take an offer from another team, which is, he has every right to do, and I don't fault him for that. Wish him the best, but it was never our intention to not try to bring him back. And as far as where things went wrong, I think the nature of the NBA and negotiations and unrestricted free agency is anything can happen. And we saw, something that I don't think many people foresaw happening come to play. And hey, that's, more power to him. He's got he's happy where he's at, and we're going to be just fine moving forward. We're going to adjust, and we've got some guys who are going to have more opportunity now at that position, and it might look a little different with how we play, largely because Tyrese isn't out there. But what Myles did was valuable to us, but we have some other guys at that position that provide some value to us as well, and I do.
Were you guys ready to counter the Milwaukee deal?
I mean, we were in the midst of negotiations, so we were going back and forth, and then we weren't. And like I said, it's his right to take a deal if he feels another deal is right. He's unrestricted, and we understand that. But we were hopeful that we were going to continue the negotiation. But like I said, he has the power as an unrestricted free agent to take a deal, and we respect that. And unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But that's part of the business too, and we got to look forward.
When you say it's part of the business, have you ever had anything like that occur before?
Not that I can say that's comparable to that. I think we've had times where we felt there was a player that was happy with us that chose to go a different direction. That was very surprising. This one is a little different in the sense of how it happened. But we've had players, I think Bojan Bogdanovic is a great example. I thought Bojan had a great experience with us, and ultimately he went a different direction when we felt like we had a good chance to retain him. But it's, in free agency, once the season ends and other teams begin to talk to a player, they get, smitten by another team, another situation, and that's their right. That's part of unrestricted free agency, and it's unfortunate, how it played out for us because we hope to bring him back, but we also knew that this is a possibility. There's no guarantees in this business, and you kind of have to expect the unexpected at times.
It's Chad Buchanan, Pacers general manager. He is in Las Vegas for the Summer League. The Pacers 5:30 tomorrow get the incredible Brooks Barnhizer and OKC in Summer League play after yet another come-from-behind win in their first appearance against Cleveland yesterday in Las Vegas. Chad is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So handling making up for these losses, you guys feel like at least right now what you can do, you're never going to make up completely for them, but what you can put together is something that is under your own roof. Do you feel strongly about that?
I do. I think the one thing you can take away, a talent, a skill off of your team with what Tyrese did, and you can say what Myles did. You can take that away, the shooting, the passing, the pace, things like that, which were a big part of who we are. But you're not taking away the heart of what this team is about. We have some guys that are very invested in each other and very invested in what our coaches are preaching and very invested in the community and putting out there a style of play that makes our fans proud. And it probably is going to look a little different next year. You don't have Tyrese playing point guard, so it's, you're going to have a little different look there. And, it's not going to be maybe the same style of play because you're taking away, Tyrese's talents, but you're not taking away the heart of what this core of guys are about. And like I mentioned earlier, you can doubt them all you want. You can say, hey, they've lost, a great player, which we have, and feel like, hey, this team is an afterthought. And I hope people do say that about us because I think that's when we play at our best. And I challenge, all of our guys, to this is opportunity for a lot of them too. Andrew Nembhard, for example, is probably going to have more on his plate. I think he's ready for it. And I think you're going to see him take another step. I think Benedict Mathurin, Obi Toppin, Isaiah Jackson, Jay Huff, who we just acquired, James Wiseman. There's plenty of guys that have built the same cloth of competitiveness, of desire to play well, desire to win. They're going to buy into how we play, and I'd be very surprised if we don't have another successful season.
Jay Huff was a trade you guys initiated with the Memphis Grizzlies as a backup pivot down in Memphis. How do you think he translates to what you guys do, and especially how you guys run things offensively, Chad?
If you go back, I think it's been 3 years ago, the Mad Ants played in the G League playoffs. We played over in Washington, D.C. in the first round against the Wizards G League team, and we all traveled over for that game, and we watched big white kid Jay Huff just absolutely dominate us and really put himself more on our radar than he ever been before. And as we tracked him over the last couple of years, watched his development, watched his growth this year when he got minutes in Memphis, and really felt like his ability to shoot the ball, his feel for how to play, and his character were fit to what, our system and our culture was all about. So we'd always had some interest there. And then, now that getting the opportunity to add him, I think what you're losing is some of the stretch shooting part of Myles. Jay can replace some of that. Jay's got, young legs. He's 26 years old. He knows how to play. He understands how to fit a role. And I think, if you look at our 5-man position, Isaiah Jackson, James Wiseman, Tony Bradley right now, none of those 3 guys are probably best known for stretching the floor. So we felt like it was important to have a guy at that position that could provide some spacing for Pascal, for Drew, for other players, and I think Jay will provide a lot of that for us. So it's I'm excited to see what he can do in our system. He's obviously a guy who's bounced around a little bit, and we've had some success with guys who haven't necessarily found like the perfect spot for them, and we're hoping that we're the perfect spot for Jay.
As you could probably tell right there, that's Pacers general manager Chad Buchanan kind of telling me that I can talk about these guys in the pivot and maybe not something else that has been recently reported. I respect that. That is general manager savvy until something is made official. And Chad's from Vegas on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. That is well done. Hey, I'm on the lookout right now for rotational minutes because you get some rotational minute opportunities on a team that went the distance in the NBA Finals a year ago. What exactly are you guys looking for? I know it's all not going to happen at once in one performance in Vegas, but what are you looking for as far as guys jumping off the page with this particular group that could earn themselves some rotational minutes coming up this season?
I think our group out here in Vegas is a blend of a couple guys that are two-way contract, type players, and then you've got Johnny Furphy, we're looking for him to kind of take another jump. I think in Summer League, it's very common to see a guy in his second run at Summer League really show a lot of growth because they're a little more comfortable. They've had a year of NBA experience under their belt, and I think you started to see that from Johnny before he got injured yesterday, unfortunately. But I think we're excited about where his game can go, where he can grow as a player, where he can grow as a fit with the way we play. When we drafted Johnny, we saw a lot of qualities in his game and his play style that matched the way we play. And I think as we had him, with us for our first year, we saw a lot of those signs that are encouraging that this is a guy who can do a lot of the same things that Ben Shepherd does, but he's a 6'8", 6'9", small forward. And we've seen the success that Ben has had, playing a role for us. And we see potential for Johnny to do that and even potentially more because of his size, his athleticism, and his youth. And, another guy, Cam Jones, who we just drafted, want to see how he handles NBA-level quickness and speed. And can he make plays, get to the paint, against NBA caliber size and athleticism. I think we saw, some signs of that yesterday. It's obviously just one game, but he's a guy who loves to compete. He's a winner. He's got a great character to him, and I feel like that is a guy who at some point down the road for us is going to be important to step in and play. With no Tyrese, that takes away a backcourt player who played a lot of minutes. It's going to put more, opportunity in front of some other guys, and that could trickle down to Cam. So anxious to see what he does over these next 4 games with us out here, because I think he's learning a lot every day, every practice, and I think there's real potential there with him.
So Richie McKay, the head coach at Liberty, Talon Peters' head coach, told me last week that Talon's kind of like me if I were 30, 35 years younger and had some hops. Is there any truth to that?
Well, if he's kind of like you, I think we made a mistake on that draft.
Oh,
pick,
man, that hurts.
No, I think Talon had a very promising first game yesterday. What Talon is known best for is shooting, and he only took 1 3 yesterday, but found a lot of ways to impact the game. I thought his on-ball defense was very encouraging. He's moving without the ball, and I think there's a lot of room for him to grow and develop. I mean, he's only played Division I basketball for essentially 2 years and wedged in a couple of years of Division II. So the step up in competition was obviously massive yesterday, and it'll be even more massive once he gets to training camp. But he has an NBA skill in his shooting, and he has an NBA skill in his character and his work ethic. And I think, these four more games out here in Las Vegas, you'll see him shoot the ball more and find ways to get open to make some threes for us, because that's really what he's going to provide, his best chance to provide for us in the long run.
Hey, Chad, I know you're not Rick Carlisle, because if you were by now, we'd be talking about music, I'm sure. But let's just say I'm kind of curious, because I get somebody here that is a huge part of the organization, and I'll talk 3 hours a day about, well, Nembhard slides to the 1 and Mathering goes to the starting lineup, and then, how the rotation is altered that way. Is that a way to look at it, or might you guys have anything else in mind? And I did want to ask you this, because I'm such a fan of the pace of play that they play offensively. How will that, or how would you guys expect that? And I know that there are going to be adjustments made throughout the season, but do you expect that pace of play to be impacted because of the Halliburton loss in a major way going into this year?
I think it'd be crazy to not think that our pace would be affected a little bit, with losing Ty. And if you slide Drew over to the point, he's a different type of point guard. He's obviously very talented, very good player, but he's a different style of play. I think our coaches, one thing that is, Rick has many, many talents and strengths. His ability to adapt to his roster and maximize what he has is his biggest strength. And I think he would tell you, he had a team back in Dallas where he played 3 centers, basically equal minutes every night. And so he had success doing that as well. He, made the playoffs with a team that was playing 3 guys at the center position, and I think you saw him maximize so many of our guys this year as well. And I think it'll look a little different. We're not going to be, you don't have Ty throwing the ball up ahead as much. That's not necessarily how Drew operates, but I think we'll have a clear identity once you get through 15 to 20 games of how we're going to play, and our coaches will figure out the best way to keep us in the mix every night.